Okay. Test, is this thing on? Yes, it is. Okay. Well, welcome everyone to this week's installment of I Am Going Insane. But yeah, nevertheless. Let's think. Yeah, so nothing too crazy. Welcome one, welcome all to the stream for all these people who are here, who are coming in, who are chilling, vibing, whatever. I'm King Bry, this is Monomy, and I'm gonna be yapping about some medical stuff today because I got some exams coming up, and I also got some new tech that I want to talk about, so we'll see how it goes, but yeah, for now, what I'm gonna do is do a bit of housekeeping. First things first, I bumped the ad break start to like 10 minutes ahead, so hopefully pre-roll shouldn't show up, but who knows at this point, I have no fucking clue. But yeah. And another thing is that during ad breaks, I'm probably gonna just, stop talking, chat about like something random because, I don't want everyone to miss out on the stream. Hello, Maddie. How you doing? So yeah, ad breaks. I'm just gonna, vibe out, yap about whatever you guys want, and then we're gonna head back to the content so that nobody misses anything, I mean, I don't like Twitch ads, you don't like Twitch ads, and Twitch apparently is cracking down the amount of viewers, like their viewer bullshit. I have no idea what the fuck they're doing, I'm not gonna lie, so we'll see. Well, nevertheless, so today, I have a few things on the agenda. Let's head to my working screen and shrink my dumb ass down because I am fat. I'm large. Like, this is how large I can get, and I just become small. Anyways. But if you can't tell, if you guys are like up, you guys are up, don't want to go to bed, well, it might be a good idea to just listen to the stream because we're going to talk about sleep, why it's important, why you should get it, why nobody gets sleep also, because like that's an important thing to think about though. Because, in today's time, there's a lot of issues when it comes to the importance of sleep in society. I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about with how our society goes. Just to give a quick outline, I researched a bunch of shit. A lot of shit about sleep. So you can see I have all of the stuff I want to talk about today. Are we gonna get through it? Probably not. But I do want to talk about a lot of it, especially, all the tech stuff involved. So yeah, feel free to screenshot this, feel free to save it. I'm just gonna go over each part. As you guys know, I'm not a presentation person. I don't make presentations for streams. I do it in real life, but not for streaming because I'm fucking lazy as shit. So yeah, that's how it's gonna work here. All right. And also, for those who don't know, I have been posting a bunch of stream clips on YouTube. Hey, Hika, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Welcome on, welcome in. So I was just doing a bit of housekeeping before I get started. So I'm just gonna go to my YouTube channel here. I'm actually rebroadcasting this on YouTube because that's where everything gets archived for all you folks that are like, oh my god, I missed the stream. How in ever can I see Bry? Well, that's how you see me. You see me through YouTube. I put all my VODs there. So Hacking Bry's channel. And I always appreciate you guys. My shorts have been doing very well. Always appreciate y'all. I love yapping about it. If you guys think I'm yapping, if you guys think I'm yapping your ear off too much about it, It's because it's interesting. That's why. It's cool to see myself grow and content grow. So I really appreciate you guys for checking out my shit, viewing my stuff. You know, even though I don't have too much time to edit, too much time to publish, because medical student, third-year rotations. I'm sure all of the doctors in chat know what the fuck I'm going through right now. So yeah, if you guys want to drop sub, or you guys want to just, you know, take a look at bite-sized clips or VODs, then you can do it. Go for it. All right. So with that out of the way, let's start talking about sleep. And the first thing I want to, and before I get started, I want to ask the chat, any questions that you guys have, anything in general, just drop it, ask me at any time. I'll be happy to educate or re-educate some doctors in the chat about the entire cycles of sleep. But let's start talking about sleep itself. So what the hell even is sleep? Right? So what is this thing called sleep? It seems so magical, right? When we start as a child, we're like, oh, you gotta go to bed, you gotta go to sleep. And you're like, oh, mom, I don't want to go to bed because I don't know why we need it. Well, there's a few reasons why. Sleep is basically, a reset function, right? So basically your body is awake in the morning. This is the sun. So this is awake. And in the nighttime, oops, that's a shitty bed. You're asleep, right? So here's the moon. Very shitty moon, but it makes sense. So you can see that there's a constant cycle between awake and asleep, right? That's what the body is. Sleep could be kind of thought of as the body's way to recharge. Right, so recharging is very important. It's used for your phone batteries. It's used for your phones. It's used for animals. I can't draw a dog, so I'm just gonna draw like a fish. I don't know. This shitty ass fish. But yeah, it's used for animals, for dogs, and also for humans. So we have a bodily way to recharge ourselves, to get up in the morning, and to keep ourselves, you know, nice and rested and limber and everything. Okay. So yeah, sleep is a very, very important thing. Now, one thing, now we got an ad in 40 seconds. God damn it. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep yapping about this then. So let's go over what essentially recharging does for your body, right? So what is recharging? Because we just talked about the broad topic of sleep. It's kind of obvious as to what it is. It's a generic term for just like the ability for the body to fix itself over time, right? It just cleans itself up. It's a whole sanitation cycle, you can call it. And then next thing you know, you're awake, you're back on the grind, you're back to working, whatever. But what exactly does recharging entail? There's a lot of, you know, thoughts about sleep. And the biggest thing is that we don't know. We actually don't know how sleep works or what it does. Oh, okay, ad break. Fun times. Oh man, I fucking hate Twitch. Anyways, how are you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing well. I'm just gonna wait for this shit to finish. Because, I don't know why, but the breaks just are stupid. At work, LOL. Oh yeah, Hika, you're a radiologist, right? I saw you on Twitter. You're complaining about like the evening shift, right? Brother, isn't it always evening for you? Isn't it just always evening? You're just sitting here, you're just sitting in the fucking radiology room the entire day, man. Not to insult radiologists or anything, I love them. They're amazing. I've worked with quite a few radiologists throughout my life, but it's the same. Every single one I've talked to, they sit in the dark radiology reading room. That is true. What is sunlight? Do you work at home or in the hospital or like your office or something? Because I know like the person I shadowed worked at the office. You know, that was a fun time. But yeah. They worked at the office. I shadowed them in the reading room, just read MRIs, X-rays, CT scans, all the 9 yards. I did like a lot of neuroradiology. Weekend shift, I work at home. Otherwise, I work at interesting. So I know some people just work straight up at home for radiology. I mean, I don't know how the fuck it works with EMRs there, because God knows how Epic is able to, you know, seed you out to home. Like, oh yeah, you can do this at home, by the way. Yeah, like, but yeah, radio's a fun field. I mean, not for me. Even though I love computers, radio's not for me because I like talking to patients. That's literally it. A VPN? What do you mean? Why do I need a VPN? Oh, VPN, yeah, for radiology. Yeah, okay, that makes sense, actually. We connect to a VPN. Ah, I see. Because, like, everything's sensitive in the healthcare field. So, yeah, VPN does make sense. If you connect to that before you go into, you know, the outside internet, then that makes a lot of sense, actually. Gotcha. I mean, when I'm going into practice, I'm probably never going to be working at home. Or depending on what I do, I'll probably be doing tele something, but who fucking knows? I'm still in third year. Who fucking knows what's going on in life. But yeah, my workstation is completely separate from my home PC. Damn, bro's not letting the health gremlins get onto his PC? Alright, ad break's finished. Alright, sweet. Alright, so let me get back to the content here. So let's go over this. Sorry, I'm gonna just break it up, but let's go over the recharging portion of it, right? So recharging basically means you're resetting your metabolism, immune function. You're also de-stressing. And there's many other things, right? But the main thing you need to understand is that the two types of nervous systems, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, are altered. The balance is altered. With sleep, the balance between parasympathetic is way higher than the sympathetic nervous system. When you're awake, it can fluctuate, right? It can fluctuate between sympathetic and parasympathetic being active depending on what you're doing. But when you're sleeping, it's a time to relax. You guys probably learned in high school that the parasympathetic nervous system is called rest and digest. And then the sympathetic nervous system is called fight or flight. So, since you're resting, since you're sleeping, you're able to increase your metabolism. And you're also able to keep your body rested so the immune system can properly fight. This is why when you're sick, which is what a lot of people have right now, and what I always advise people, you sleep and rest as much as possible. Because that'll kickstart your immune system to actually start doing shit. You know, de-stressing, right? You build up a lot of cortisol throughout the day. And it's going to be shed, essentially. All of that stuff that you're using to suppress all of the issues, it's gonna go away. What do you think about the sweat it out people? Oh, for colds? I mean, I could do a quick tangent, sure. So, when you're sick, right, you develop a fever. These are spawned by, yeah, any sickness, I understand. So, you usually develop a fever. I'm going for, like, the cold, for example. So, you have, like, the, what is it, IL-6, IL-1, no, sorry, not IL-6, IL-1, which is a pyrogen, goes to the hypothalamus, does shit. But, yeah, so you have your fever, and this is going to make you hot so that the germs can die. Right? Anything hot will make the germ die. So when you say sweat it out, I mean, you shouldn't be making yourself more hot than you need to, in my opinion. I mean, you could if you want to. The thing with sickness is that it's unique for everybody. How it starts, how it finishes, what symptoms you go through, and the virus also causes different things to happen to people. That's the difference between like public health and individualized care, because public health is generalized. Right? It's general. But individual health is very unique. Like someone can present with something completely different than what you thought was there. When I usually see it, they're intentionally working out to get rid of sickness. See, there's two different types of sweating it out, I guess, now, because whenever I hear sweat it out, I mean, I hear just like put a heating pad under yourself or something when you're sleeping. But working it out, I don't know. I mean, my advice when you're sick, I think that's really anyone's advice, so I can say this. Stay home. When you're sick, stay home and rest for the love of God. Because, like, I understand, like, I get it if you have a job and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about here. Just, like, in general, if there's, like, non-extenuating circumstances, stay at home when you're sick and rest. No, it's time to take out the entire department. Okay, bro. I know some workplaces, I'm gonna talk about this with culture and sleep as well. Some workplaces, you know, just expect you, hey, you gotta come in. Even if you're feeling cold symptoms, come into work because it's so important. Like, I'm taking a sick day, fuck you. Or I'm working from home that day because, like, I'm way too sick to do anything and I'm gonna stay in bed like a little gremlin and I'm not gonna do shit. Anyways, but yeah. So, the sweat it out people, going to work out while sick, no, please don't do that. Just rest because your body is literally screaming like, hey, I want to fucking sleep. And also I have a little tie about working out in a second. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Let me get rid of this though. At least, again, this is not like medical advice. It's just my opinions as a student. Right? If you do want medical advice, see your doctor. I wouldn't be surprised. I had to pull some 12-hour shifts. Then get a few shorter work days instead of overtime. Yeah, welcome to the real world. You guys know it better than I do. So yeah, I'm young as shit. Anyways, so we're talking about the sympathetic versus the parasympathetic system, right? And essentially, since the parasympathetic system is doing all the work, you're going to see a huge increase in all of these systems that usually involve the parasympathetic system. Okay? So hopefully that educates you as to, you know, what we know about sleep. Again, like I said before, right? In terms of sleep itself, we don't know everything. Right? We don't know everything. It's the same like the brain and the immune system. These are two like most common systems where we say like, we know a ton of shit about these things, right? But we don't know everything about them. We don't know the mapping of the brain. We don't know like half of this stuff too. I think I said this like 3 times already, but with psychology, for example, I cannot spell. With psychiatry, for example, no slight to any of my fellow VTubers. Some of the drugs are like, you know what? It works. We don't fucking know how, but it works. So yeah, like that's like a prominent field, psych and neuro. Those are both fields where it's like, we don't fucking know how some of this shit happens, but the one thing we do know is that what we're doing works fine and we're gonna keep doing it. So yeah, in medicine, we don't know everything. We're constantly studying. We're constantly growing. I mean, I personally keep that in mind. My SSRI is making my dreams weird. Yeah, bro. Oh man, psych medications have a lot of weird effects, but nevertheless. So I previously covered just now, you know, this thing right here, this awake to sleep cycle, right? And this awake to sleep cycle is something that's very important and very covered in casual media, called the circadian rhythm. Basically, it's a bodily clock, right, that tells your body when you should be awake and tells your body when you should be asleep. And usually, it's dictated by light. So in the day, you have your sunlight, right? You have your sunlight in the day, and it's keeping you awake. And when it's dark, it's keeping you asleep, right? So the awakefulness is mainly due through a bunch of neurotransmitters. But also the hormone that everybody loves to talk about is melatonin. Oops, I cannot spell. And what melatonin does, right? So let's write melatonin here. And what melatonin does is basically it's released from your brain. I'm going to make a shitty version of a brain here. Okay, so inside this little box we're going to call the hypothalamus. This is usually called like your primitive brain. There's a lot of things that are done here. For example, you know, temperature, hunger, but also sleep regulation. And it's done through like a certain hypothalamic nucleus. I'm not going to go over what it is because that's a little too complicated for the scope of the stream. But basically, melatonin is released from a place called the pineal gland. And this only occurs in the moonlight, right? So when it's dark, melatonin gets released. When it's bright, melatonin doesn't get released. And this is what it used to be like in prehistoric times, you know, before civilization, right? But it's a lot more complicated now because in civilization, because pre-civilization, the only light source you had is this thing, right? But nowadays, you have way more things that are used for light sources. For example, the light bulb. Right? The light bulb is a very common example of light in the modern era. And that can definitely fuck up your circadian rhythm. And as you know, like when it's dark out, you start to feel tired. You start to feel very, you know, you want to pass out. You want to go to bed depending on what you did during the day. And that's essentially what melatonin does, right? It tells your body, it regulates the circadian rhythm. Like, hey, it's this time now. Go to fucking bed, you dumbass. Otherwise, you're gonna regret it tomorrow. It's like your body making vague threats against you. Like, hey, if you don't sleep tonight, I'm gonna be complaining so much tomorrow because I'm bratty and that's who I am. Do you guys ever feel like that? You know, whenever you don't get like a good night's sleep and you're just like, why the fuck did I not get a good night's sleep? Oh my god. But yeah. So, yeah. But yes. So that is essentially the circadian rhythm. Just think of it as your bodily clock, right? It's not the clock that, you know, tells the time. It's not this one, right? It's a special one for your body that keeps you up and puts you to sleep. Now, the problem is, since the body clock is not aligned with the clock that we have to go into work with, we can have a phenomenon called jet lag. So let's explain jet lag now. So jet lag is essentially a phenomenon where, classically, you go on a plane to like freaking, I don't know, let's say Colombia or something. India or something. I don't know. We're going to India, okay? That's like so many hours from the US, where presumably I assume you guys are located from. So we're in India now. This is like the shittiest drawing of India possible, but we're gonna roll with it. Then what we'll have is the clock gonna look very different, right? So let's just say we're gonna go from here to here, but our circadian rhythm will stay the same, right? So it's gonna stay the exact same as before, and our body needs some time to adjust because our body just understands that, hey, we need to sleep at this time. But unfortunately, the time that we're gonna sleep at is here and not here. So that's how jet lag works, right? And eventually, right, you're gonna go back to the sun awake, not moon sleep type of thing, right? But it's gonna take time. It's a lag, right? Because one thing for sure is that melatonin is a hormone. I'm not trying to hyper-focus on melatonin here. There's other neurotransmitters, like histamine. There's also serotonin that are also used for sleeping. But I'm not going to get into those. So, since melatonin is a hormone, it obviously takes time to degrade. And the endocrine system, right, is a long-acting signaling system, as opposed to the nervous system, which is a short-acting one. So, when there is a delay when adapting to a new environment. Now, the way to solve jet lag, right, that's been purported by so many people, is use melatonin. And I don't mean like, you know, wait for your body to adjust. I mean melatonin supplements. I know you guys know all about this stuff. It's like the most commonly pushed thing when it comes to sleep. Everybody says, oh, just take some melatonin, take the gummies, take the pills, take the capsules. It's a little bit more complicated than that. But yeah, melatonin is a very interesting hormone, right? It is one of the prime movers for this type of stuff. But the main thing when it comes, and there's actually a drug for melatonin, FDA approved and everything, called Remeltion. Have you guys ever heard of Remeltion? I don't know if you've ever, you know, seen this drug before. It's a kind of a new drug. New meaning like in like the 2010s that got released. It's not like, you know, the older stuff that people, like the tried and true things. But yes. You haven't heard of it. Okay, so this is a good thing to go over. It's actually taught nowadays in medical school education. So Rameltion, it says a medication to treat insomnia, but it is essentially a compound that binds to the suprachiasmatic nucleus to the melatonin receptor. Right, so it's essentially a antagonist. So it's mimicking melatonin to give you that same effect. And again, since it's basically melatonin, it's not addictive, right? You can't, from what we know, you can't get addicted on melatonin. I fucking hope you don't, because that would be pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, it says right here, mimicking melatonin. It's used to regulate the circadian rhythm. It has high affinity for the MT1 and MT2 receptors, yada, yada, yada. Okay. If you could, I'm screwed. Yes, I'd be screwed too if I was. I mean, I don't really take melatonin, to be honest. Maybe I should cover weed as well. That's a very interesting one too, but nevertheless. Okay, but yes, Rameltion is primarily used for jet lag. It can be used for jet lag, insomnia, etc. Right, because of melatonin. Right, so that's how it works. And the cool part is that, you know, there are drugs out there, and there are also melatonin supplements. Unlike what most people think about supplements, you know, melatonin is like well tolerated in the scientific community, from what I've seen at least. If you guys think otherwise, let me know. But it's well tolerated in the scientific community because, you know, everybody wants to sleep. And yeah, so everybody talks about, you know, take this, take that, take it here, take there. Yeah, whatever. But there's a lot of things to do to improve your sleep. However, there's also a common misconception about how many hours do you need. How many freaking hours do you need to properly sleep? Right? So let's go over that. There's actually a full document from the CDC about sleep. And there is a specific section called, wait for it. Getting enough sleep. Wow, it's almost like this is the top thing that people, you know, don't think about. So when you're a newborn, you're fucking sleeping all the time. You're a freaking idiot. You're just chilling, sitting on the bed like a goober. Then when you're an infant, the sleep requirements start going down. Toddler goes even further down. And then preschool down, 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 down. So when you're a teenager, it's recommended to get 8 to 10 hours of sleep. When you're an adult, it's kind of consistent, right? When you're like 18 to 60 years old, 7+. And then it's just consistent 7 to 9 from then on. Like, it's kind of obvious because here's the thing, right? Sleep in children and pediatrics in general can help promote development, growth, whatever, right? Oopsie. I'm losing my mind here. So it promotes development, it can increase growth, it can, you know, accelerate your development. And the reason why sleep is so important is because it'll help you grow. The tiny humans are so different. Dude, I got that next. Don't remind me. But yes. So basically, I'm going to ask you guys one question. We see this line here. I'm going to write it down. It says teen, 8 to 10 hours. Do you think a teenager is actually sleeping 8 to 10 hours? I want to ask the chat. Do you guys think that? Fuck no. Exactly, right? Teens, there is absolutely no way that teens are sleeping 8 to 10 hours a night. Do you think adults are sleeping 7 hours a night? My answer would be maybe. Depending on your discipline, right? If you're a person that's like partying all the time, or you have a lot of homework like Maddie just said, then 7 hours, yeah, people might do that. But for my field, absolutely not. Like, med students do not sleep for 7 hours. I am sorry, but we do not have the time to sleep for that long. Same with the residents, actually. They're both the same thing. But yeah, I probably even attendings have something similar. Or maybe attendings are just so old. I know a few attendings I know, even in the VTuber sphere, are so old that they just sleep like mad early and they don't want to talk to me. They don't want to talk in the nighttime. And I'm like, bro, you're actually old and freaky. No shade to my attending friends. But yeah. So basically, we already know that there's no way in hell. Rude. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. It's just true. It's just true. I'm very sorry. But well, then they also have kids. They just never sleep. That is true. Yeah, if you have kids, say goodbye to your sleep. I could put kids here as well. Right? You're not sleeping for like a couple years because of the fucking baby. Like, wow, I'm hungry. Wow, I'm thirsty. I need to be turned over. I can't speak. Babies are so funny, man. Oh my god. I watch some stupid ass baby videos that pop up on like my short speed. I'm just like, bro, what the fuck is this dumbass baby doing? Oh man. But yeah. So anyways. But yes, so hours are certainly a thing. At least they're cute. Yeah, that's literally what saves them. It's just because they're cute. That's literally it. Otherwise, they'd just be like, you know, what are you crying about, man? Why are you complaining? Instead of being like, oh, can I help you? Are you okay? I bet you some people are just like that too, just to fuck with the baby, man. Funny seeing their reactions. Anyways, enough about fucking babies being dumb. Okay. The cheese slapping. That was funny. Oh man, I remember those videos. Just bro got startled. Anyways. Alright, so back to the hours stuff. So yeah, we already know that people aren't sleeping the right hours. And hours isn't exactly, you know, closing your eye, going to bed, and then staying there for 7 hours. It means 7 hours of sleep. Right? 7 hours of sleep is required. Now, I want to go over a few bits of physiology with you guys, because this is a very important topic that you guys need to know about so that there's no misinfo as to how the fuck it works. Alright, so let's start with the following stages. Or sorry, let's start with this, actually. I wonder if you guys know what the thing I wrote on the screen here is, an EEG. It stands for electroencephalogram, for those who are, you know, very fancy people, you know, like, hey, I like to open up every single abbreviation. Like, spring misinfo is crazy. But yes, an EEG, I'll show you guys what it looks like in a second. There you go. Looks like this fucking thing. You're wearing the helmet of electrodes, bro. IRL friend of mine has epilepsy. Yeah, so you are using an EEG in that case to measure brain waves. But yes, this is a non-invasive device to measure brain waves for various reasons. So let's go over the different waves that are present on an EEG that medical students learn. So we have the Greek letters. We have alpha, beta, theta, and delta, right? So alpha waves, actually, no, let's start with beta waves. Beta waves is when you're awake, right? Your eyes are open, you're awake, you're watching the stream, right? That's beta waves. Alpha waves are when your eyes are closed. That's when you close your eyes for the first time, like I'm doing right now. Or you put your head on the covers and you start, you know, closing your eyes, trying to fall asleep. Theta is like light sleeping. And delta is heavy sleep. And these aren't, you know, medically accurate terms, right? These are, you know, just terms that are thrown about. And I'm going to explain what those are. So there are 4 stages of sleep. We have N1, N2, N3, and it's not N4, it's called REM. Now, you guys have probably heard of REM before, but you probably have not heard of these, unless you went to medical school. And then there's also awake. That's like technically a stage, but it's its own thing. So let's start with N1, right? So when you're awake and you put your head on the covers, close your eyes, and you slowly go towards N1. In N1, you go into some... I just did the intro to psych right now, and you just did the sleep unit. Yeah, so that's good. So you know all about this stuff then. You should be able to do the stream and not me. I'm kidding. Anyways, so N1, you see theta waves. N2, you see theta waves. N3, you see delta waves. And REM I'm gonna save that for later, actually. So in N1, you know, you're just starting to drift off, and you're hitting like the light sleep phase. Then in N2, you see a couple of things that are commonly tested on boards. Sleep spindles. I'm just gonna write spindles. And K complexes. And these are mainly like random artifacts. These are mainly artifacts that appear on an EEG because, you know, that's showing that you're transitioning from N1 to N2. And this is, you know, deeper. N3 is delta waves. So this is, you know, very deep sleep. So this is quote unquote deep. This is the time when you literally can't be woken up. Like, there are memes out there. I've seen like these on my reels all the time where there's this like kid. It's like this Russian meme. There's this kid sleeping on the bed and the alarm is going off. And the fucking brother or dad or whatever is just like yelling at the kid and trying to shout at his lungs to get the kid up. The kid was probably in N3 sleep because quite literally an alarm will just not wake you up at this time. It's impossible. So yeah, that's what N3 sleep is. But then we get to the black sheep of the sleep phases called REM. REM stands for rapid eye movement. And this is the most important part of sleep because whenever you hear of the words restful sleep, this means REM. Right? Any form of restful sleep is rapid eye movement. That's essentially what it's about, right? So REM basically is when you dream. Oops. You also have atonia. That means you have like a form of paralysis. Or it actually just means you have paralysis during sleep. So when you're dreaming, your fucking legs and arms aren't flailing about like, oh my god, I'm getting fucking chased by a goblin. I don't know. What are your guys' nightmares like? I haven't had a nightmare in a long time, but yeah, so atonia is known as paralysis, right? Sleep paralysis. Now, sleep paralysis is also a different thing where like you're awake but you can't move. That's its own thing, but yeah, you actually have atonia. Mostly falling or my dog's being for oh, okay, that sucks. But yeah, that is an example of a nightmare. That's an example of a nightmare. So there is a common bit of information that y'all should probably know is napping. I'm not sure if your attending bros get this. I went to college math class and didn't realize there's a test I'm about to fail. Is there a nightmare? Damn, bro is grinding, dude. Bro is grinding college. God damn. Funny as shit. But yeah, let's talk about napping. So people are like, oh, like 3 p.m. right? You could take a nap. You're in bed. Oh, Z, I'm taking a nap. Oh my god. Right. This is not helpful. I'm sorry, but like a nap usually isn't helpful because again, you're not getting that restful sleep. Right? Restful sleep does not come with napping. Maybe a log nap, like 3 to 7 p.m. That might give you some restful sleep. But 3 p.m. to like 4 p.m., like a power nap, it's not doing shit. I'm sorry. This is for all of you nap bros, I'm very sorry to burst your bubble, but that is what happens. That's why when some people get back from school, they're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna knock for a bit, and then they're out till like 9 p.m. That's because their body is so tired that they just need some REM sleep. Like, their body is literally yelling at them, like, get on the bed right now. I need to fucking sleep. Fuck whatever you want to do and study. Fuck you. So yeah, that's what's going on. But yes, so you're not getting that REM sleep. You're not getting that stuff with napping. And unfortunately, you know, that's what happens. But one thing I really like to talk about when it comes to stuff like this is the culture. Right? So I assume most of you guys in chat are from where I'm at, which is America, right? The US. If you're not from the US, shout it out into the ether. Let me know what you do for your culture. But the culture in America is mainly rush. Rushing to get out the door, rushing to go to work, and then work from 9 to 5, right? And then maybe go out. So there's never really any time to rest. There's never really any time to like you know, just sit down, decompress yourself, activate your parasympathetic nervous system for a bit, and just let it rock. Exactly, the fuck is rest, right? That's the American subculture. That's the American culture. But in other places like Spain or Italy, my model artist is actually from Spain, told me about this. You get a period in the day, which is called a siesta. Right, Matt, you said it. Basically, all businesses are closed from like 3 p.m. to like 5 p.m., I guess. Again, like you take just a nap, rest, whatever. It's just like an inbuilt nap into the culture. Again, I mean, not gonna help as much as, you know, sleeping properly, but it, you know, will do something. 10 out of 10 idea. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, so having a siesta, right? You go to sleep every day just for like in the afternoon or something. And, you know, it can help build things up. The downside, though, is that because of a siesta, people are up till like 12 a.m. Just like normally, from what I've heard. I don't know this for sure. Any Spain or Italian bros in the chat? I don't think there are any. Let me know. But I think it's just an excuse to stay up longer for some people. And unfortunately, since I just talked about how napping really doesn't help you, you see, doing this and then not getting the continuous sleep is a huge issue. So yeah, your napping is not really helping you if you're just neglecting your normal sleep. It's not like a set of hours, like you have, oh, I slept for 4 hours in the night, I can just add 2 more and I'll be good. Right? So yeah. I heard they eat dinner at like 9 p.m. Bro, I sometimes eat dinner at 9 p.m., bro. Don't judge me. Anyways. So yeah, that's a siesta. That's the culture. Right? You're a med student? Yeah, but like some people, a lot of people I know, especially, you know, from Eastern cultures, they sometimes eat dinner at like really late times. I always ask them like, why don't you eat earlier? And they're like, that's just when we eat. So yeah, I mean, that's something to really think about in terms of, oh, this is how it works, right? Like, it's different based on the culture. And sometimes the culture, since America is a melting pot, right, we'll start to see like people eating dinner at different times of the night. Now, in terms of Hika's case, because I want to talk about the night shift. The night shift is a fun time. Basically, you gotta sleep during the day, and then you gotta be up in the night. So essentially, what you gotta do is jet lag. It's intentional jet lag. Am I right, Hika? Am I right about this? You're intentionally jet lagging yourself to stay up in the night. And that is the funniest shit ever. Because, you know, you're trying to basically force your sleep schedule to be a certain time. And of course, you know, melatonin and Rameltion can help with this, right? But yeah, that's what the night shift really entails in medicine. It's not overnight shift, thankfully. Well, that's good. That's good. Some of my friends have overnight shifts. I feel bad for them. Sometimes I make fun of them, but it's okay. Alright, anyways, we got an ad coming up in a couple of seconds, so let's just keep yapping about this. So let's just get back to the content later. Okay, but yes. So this is something like the rush culture of America is genuinely something I dislike because it doesn't really allow people to, you know, take days off. It doesn't allow people to, you know, relax. At least it's not Japan, right? At least it's not Japanese work culture, because that actually has a disease, which is literally death by overwork. So yeah, like death by overwork is a real thing, and it is because of Japan and its crazy ass work schedule with no sleep. The bar's on the floor, quite literally. Yeah. So the siestas are great, but if you're doing this bullshit, then like, okay. Sure, you're just fucking up your sleep even more. But yeah, and okay, ad break starting. So yeah, just to note, I actually did take a lot of notes for this because I was studying. Here's all like my actual notes. If you guys, you know. But yeah, that's like a slight preview as to what I usually do every day. But yeah, any questions, guys? I'll just be on the forefront of questions, I guess, while this ad is going. Otherwise, I'll just keep going, you know, on this stuff, because we got a lot of ground to cover, but hopefully it's not too fast, it's not too slow. If you guys want me to cover something specific, I'd be happy to. Just let me know. Japan, don't know how hard it is to limbo if the bar is on the floor. That's great. Man, Japan is a very, very interesting place, man. It's like, a lot of people idealize it, but at the same time, when you go into it, it's just like any other place. There's its pros and its cons, right? The pro is like, oh, it's safe, it's this, it's that, but the cons are like, oh, you're not treated as like a person there, or something like that. Or if you get a job in Japan, you're absolutely fucked over because you're not used to the schedule. Like the fact that people have to sleep on the streets sometimes because the trains are... Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other discussion I have about public transport in general. Like the pros and cons about it. But I can save that for like another time or another stream because like that's a big discussion. Handy these pregnancy. Yeah, it happens. All right, ad breaks over. All right, it does happen. It's like any other country. I don't like the idealization of Japan or any country in general because it's like any other country. You move to the one that has the pros that you like, and hopefully the cons aren't as bad as they look. Right? That's what I'd say at least. I mean, I might just be ignorant. I don't fucking know. VTuber corpo culture. Oh man, corpo is another world which I personally fucking hate, but that's okay. I know a lot of friends that have been in agencies, and they are very good people. I love talking to them, and they are amazing. And I love every single one of them. But anyways. Nevertheless. So let's talk about... Let's see my topics here. Okay, so let's talk about insomnia. Right? Should be a very interesting... Insomnia. Oh, yeah. Insomnia. Insomnia is basically not able to sleep. That's quite the literal definition of insomnia. Okay? So, not being able to sleep can be separated into acute and chronic etiologies. Chronic is usually due to drugs or psych issues. Acute is usually due to stress or jet lag. Alright, so those are the two things when it comes to acute and chronic insomnia. Now, there are many ways to treat insomnia, and by treating, either you can manage it, or you can just get rid of it entirely, most of the times in the acute case. So let's go over that. There's something called sleep hygiene that I want to go over. So sleep hygiene is just like a set of things you should do so that you get better sleep in your room. Okay, so I'm going to open up this Harvard article here that I have saved. And we're going to take a quick look as to what sleep hygiene usually entails. Before I get rid of this ad from Harvard Medical School, get the fuck out of here. Okay. Here we go. So these are the reasons for sleep hygiene, right? So let's go over the tips here. So creating a sleep sanctuary. Reducing noise, using heavy curtains to absorb sound. Like say, for example, the neighbor next door is blasting music. True story, by the way. The neighbor next door is blasting music. It's gonna be fucking hard as shit to sleep, and you're gonna be complaining to the management as much as possible. Minimizing the amount of light in your room. So, for example, like there could be street lights outside, and light is pouring into your room. Get some like blackout curtains or something to block all the light out, make your room as dark as possible. Replace your mattress and pillows with if they're worn or uncomfortable, right? If they're not comfy, then you're not gonna, you know, fall asleep as easy. And one thing that's really interesting is keeping the room cool, right? Keeping a more cooler temperature, something that, you know, your body won't start overheating, basically. So this room temperature around 65 to 68 is like for some people. I personally have, like, my personal room temperature preference is like 73, 75. I'm crazy. I'm sorry, but that's my preference. That's what I grew up with, right? So this is like something that isn't a 100% true thing, but yeah, so something that's slightly cool is nice. One thing that is really interesting when I learned about sleep for the first time is only use the bedroom for sleep and sex, right? That's it. Sleep and sex, nothing else. That's what the bedroom is for. This is obvious. And any electronic devices in another room, obviously in today's society, not fucking possible. Okay, so food and substances, right? Evening meals at least 3 hours before bedtime. The reason why is because of let's hear it. Let's hear it. The hormone of melatonin. Again, it's usually released 2 hours before bedtime, and the recommendation with melatonin is no screens, no stress, and no BS. That's the rhyme. The third one's not real. My upstairs neighbor was throwing up for hours last night. I felt like, I'm sorry about that. That sucks. Even if my pet comforts me and makes me feel less lonely, yes, even if your pet, you gotta let the pet go. I'm kidding. It's a guideline. It's not a rule. It's the same thing with like the 65 to 68. If the pet works for you, then use your pet as a sleep aid. As long as your pet is not jumping around like a fucking goober. I can't say dumbass because pets aren't stupid. They're just goobers. I don't know. But yes. So basically, so the 3 hours I said before. The 3 hours also, it allows your parasympathetic system to activate and start to wind you down for the night. So that's another thing. But also melatonin is released 2 hours before, going to beds in your circadian rhythm. So yeah, very important to keep note of that. One thing that's interesting is avoiding alcohol. A lot of people go to the bar in the evenings, right? Alcohol does make you sleepy, but it also decreases the amount of REM sleep that you get. So you are sleeping, but you don't have the restful sleep. Theoretically, like this is just me theorizing, you could have like hangovers and feel like shit. One thing, I mean, the alcohol, the way it metabolizes, it gives you a hangover, but it could also be like you feel like shit, you feel terribly tired even though you slept for hours because, you're not getting that restful sleep, right? Avoiding caffeine after lunch. I'm looking at all of the people in chat right now. You guys don't do this. I do. I haven't drank a single bit of caffeine in medical school, and I'm very happy about that. I think I'm like one of the few people that's ever done that, but yeah. But yes. So if it keeps you awake at night, just make sure to avoid the caffeine. If it doesn't, then drink as much fucking Celsius as you want. I don't care. Nicotine is a stimulant. Avoid smoking. Okay, yeah, it's kind of obvious. Eyes the Celsius. Yeah, I know you got a fucking Celsius next to you, buddy. Mr. Doctor Man. I remember talking about this with Maddie in chat before, but every single med student, every single one that I've talked to had shotgun some sort of energy drink, sometimes 2 per day, and it's like caffeine overdose. I drink tea in the morning, maybe another cup in the afternoon. Okay, that's fair. I mean, I know like Earl Grey, like British tea, it has caffeine in it, but like herbal teas, those really don't. So that's a different story. But yes. So tea is good. Tea is good as well. Bedtime routine, yada yada yada. Okay, I started drinking it after a week ago. Spectral got you into. I'm gonna crucify him. Yo, why is he enabling you, bro? Why is he enabling you? Get off the caffeine. No. Oh my fucking god. Spec has a Celsius. Listen, if you're trying to get like the med student handbook, follow my rule of not drinking a shitload of caffeine. Because it's an addiction, bro. I see people addicted all the time. They're in denial, but they're addicted. Kidding, obviously, but yeah, just be careful with the amount of fucking Celsius you consume. It's ridiculous as to how the energy drink crazes, dude. It's crazy. Fucking Panera. Oh yeah, I heard of the murder lemonade. Dude, like the lemonade that had way too much fucking caffeine. It was like the charged lemonade or something. Dude, that was fucked up. Holy shit, like... Oh, let me look it up. Panera charged lemonade. Oh my god. Yeah, it caused freaking... It caused sudden cardiac arrest, bro. How do you sell... In your right mind, how do you sell a drink that is like on the borderline of putting you into in fucking cardiac arrest and killing you? And it killed 2 people. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Like, of course it would, right? Like, that's crazy, dude. Killing 2 people is... Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh, and then there's long QT from this person, so of course you're gonna have that problem. Damn, dude. Yeah, like there's a dangerous shift. And I know I'm gonna piss a lot of people off by saying this, right? There's a dangerous shift from like morning coffee to energy drinks. Right. So energy drinks like Red Bull have been around for years, but I feel like the popularity along the younger generation has really come along because of Celsius. Right. And I'm not saying it's bad to not have an energy drink. If you need one, you can drink one. If you think it tastes good, then do it. But people are drinking a lot of Celsius, depending on the field they work in. I know the medical field is like, that's like the staple drink. And also the workout field, I think, as well. Like, energy drinks and sports drinks are usually reserved for people that exert a lot of energy every single day, right? It's more so sports drinks than energy drinks. Like, I'm talking more about pre-workout for energy. People use that because they're working out. They're burning a lot of calories. They're using a lot of their energy in one shot for working out. But yeah, the popularization of energy drinks for younger populations is something to definitely look into, because it can definitely fuck with sleep. It can fuck with your energy levels throughout the day. Because again, whenever you drink something that's a stimulant, right? So let's say you drink caffeine. So let's say time and then caffeine. So when you have a energy level. So over time, when you start drinking that Celsius, your energy level is like super high, right? Caffeine takes effect. Then over time, it's gonna plummet, right? The energy will plummet simply because, caffeine lost effect. Because your caffeine essentially gave you a huge stimulating boost, but there's also a compensatory depressive boost. And once the stimulating boost is gone, this depressive boost takes over and it drops you. And then eventually you go back up to baseline. And so that's essentially how these stimulants and caffeine works. Caffeine is a very, very mild stimulant that is arguably like the most popularized drug in the modern day era, if I'm not mistaken, right? Some people classify it as a drug, other people don't, right? It's just like a way of life, but that's essentially what caffeine does. So yeah, it's very similar to, alcohol tolerance and stuff like that, where you need more, but you don't really develop caffeine tolerance unless you're like drinking a shitload of caffeine every day. Anyways, that's enough about caffeine. I know I've definitely pissed some people off by saying that, but I think every physician during a patient interview always asks, like, what's your caffeine intake? Usually like a cup of coffee in the morning isn't gonna kill you, right? It's something that people get addicted to, sure, but it's not gonna kill you most of the time, depending on what you have. Maddie also said, like, some people are arguing that the woman who died from the charged lemonade had a health condition, but that wasn't labeled well at all. Yeah, long QT syndrome is a health condition that predisposes you to a lot of stuff. Like, especially with drug interactions where it can, cause an arrhythmia, and that can kill you. So you gotta be careful about that. It is recoverable, though. People can buy Kratom and gas. People can buy a lot of stuff in gas stations, man. What is Kratom? Is that like a very high-powered energy drink? Let's see. Oh, what the fuck is this? It's a supplement. Okay, let me show this. So Kratom is a tree. Okay. So it's a tree that basically is used to treat conditions, diarrhea, anxiety, depression, opiate. Interesting. And there's a warning about it. So it acts on your opioid receptor. It looks like it, yeah. I've never read about this. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Yeah, you gotta be careful with, supplements, because, sometimes it can cause adverse effects on your body unless you, like, know what each of them does and, like, side effects are properly listed. Because this is why... Sorry. This is why doctors usually ask about supplement use, because there's sometimes drugs that you're taking that are interacting negatively with the supplements you're taking. Like, let's just say you have Hika, for example. He needs to inject contrast into someone, right, for a radiology scan. And the patient might be taking a supplement that is acting against the contrast and causes a bad reaction, right? So that's why people ask for supplement usage. It makes people relax, but also feel energized. So people are getting addicted, spending... Oh, Jesus Christ. That's fun. That's so much fun. Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna go into, like, drug use and abuse, because that's a whole thing, like, addiction psych. Honestly, I'd rather have Lev cover addiction psych than me. Maybe we can collab again at some point, but yeah, that's really fucked in that case. Jesus. But yeah. Okay. Anyways. Let's get back on track here. Okay, and another thing I really did want to talk about is stress, right? So stress, which is, I assume that all of you guys in chat have a lot of it, like myself. Stress can definitely decrease sleep. Or decrease the ability to fall asleep, right? It can give you acute insomnia, like I showed before. And the main reason why stress, you know, doesn't allow sleep to happen is mainly psychiatric in nature, because you're worrying about something else. Right? You're just worrying about something else for so long, and you're just like, oh my god, I don't want to go to sleep now. I'm thinking about this over and over and over again. And it can cause a lot of problems with sleep. And it can also, you know, decrease restful sleep. Right? So decreasing restful sleep is pretty bad. So let's look at this article here. Sorry. So stress may be getting in the way of quality sleep. Americans report sleeping an average of 6.7 hours tonight, less than the minimum recommendation. I fucking wonder why. 42% of adults report that their sleep quality is poor. And when your sleep quality is poor, you feel like shit, you're irritable, you're cranky, you start to terrorize your med students. But yeah. Metformin and IV contrast and lactic acidosis. Yep, that's it. Or if you have a kidney problem, that's even better. Oh, man. When they do not get enough sleep, 20% blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's just see what this is saying. Okay, here we go. So adults with high stress are most likely to say that they're not getting enough sleep because their minds race, right? So it's not really like, oh, sleeping is acting on a certain... Stress is acting like a certain neurotransmitter or something. No, it's because of psychiatric, you know, thoughts. If your mind is racing and you're constantly thinking about something, you're not able to shut your mind down. You're ignoring the normal sleep cycle. And it's inevitable, right? Sometimes it happens. And it's normal. That's how acute insomnia happens. Everyone at some point in their life is going to have something stressful happen to them, whether it be a really bad event that shocks the whole country, or just like, oh, I didn't get my delivery on time. What am I going to do for my class tomorrow? You know, that's all stress. And again, when you look at stress from like a child perspective versus an adult perspective, sometimes the child one feels insignificant, but it can quite obviously affect the child in such a negative way that they're not able to sleep. And that's where, you know, empathizing with that population is a very important skill when it comes to patient care, right? So you need to be able to understand, like, hey, I understand where you're coming from, and I had this too. The way I managed it is X, Y, and Z. And again, that's where, you know, therapy can come in and things like that, but I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, so stress is a more psychiatric thing or psychological thing when it comes to I'm not able to sleep at night because I'm stressed about X, Y, and Z. And the best thing you should do is either, you know, seek some sort of therapy. If you have like an anxiety disorder, go for a medication and then some therapy. There's like a bunch of guidelines that psychiatrists use, but yeah, that's how it works. So, that's what a little aside I wanted to do. But, so how many of you guys, so I don't know if you guys were here for the Apple Watch stream that I did. How many of you guys have an Apple Watch or some sort of, you know, smartwatch nowadays? Because I want to talk about a technology that is very interesting for tracking your sleep. It's been around for some time, especially in the fitness community. And I'm going to write it down. Hopefully you guys will know about it. Okay, so this is called actigraphy. And actigraphy is a very smart way of using a watch's... So let's say your Apple Watch, right? I'm going to write it like this. So let's say your Apple Watch is on your wrist, and it's on your wrist at night. Personally, I would recommend putting that shit on your wrist at night, but you put it there, right? Your accelerometer on the Apple Watch is capturing the movement. So if there is no movement, this is most likely that you're in REM, right? If there's minimal movement, it's possible that you're just in the end stages. And if there's a lot of movement, then this simply means that you're awake. That's like the simple short form of how actinography works, right? That's the short way of it. But yeah, it's a very intuitive way for the accelerometer to just figure out how long you're sleeping. Obviously, is this accurate? Fuck no. Like, it is definitely not accurate for measuring your sleep, but it is good enough. It's like the heart rate and the blood pressure sensors, heart rate, blood pressure, pulse ox that I talked about in previous streams. It's like something, it's like a little health kick, right? That people are able to track it by themselves without the need of a bunch of complicated equipment. The actual way to track sleep is something called a polysomnography, which is just a fancy way of saying sleep study. You're basically like in the hospital, like the sleep area for like a night, and you have like a bunch of electrodes, like an EEG hooked to your head, and they measure that. That's basically what this polysomnography is. It's used for diagnosing insomnia. It could also be used for narcolepsy, maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. But there's a lot of sleep issues that, you know, that a polysomnography is diagnostic for. And people, you know, do them often, especially when you have chronic insomnia. But yeah, let's go into this article here, just explaining it. It's gonna say the same thing. Like, I just want to show you guys what I actually looked at. Sorry, I'm getting my words lost. I'm getting tired, damn, man. Because I went to the fucking gym today. Alright, so actigraphy is a type of wearable sleep test that tracks your movements to analyze when you're asleep and when you're awake. This device can help doctors diagnose certain sleep disorders. Not true. But yeah, I had one. Sleep apnea. Okay, fair enough. Sleep apnea as a toddler. Do you guys want to talk about the pathophys of sleep apnea? I'd be down, because I did want to talk about a few disorders besides insomnia, but I don't know if we have like a ton of time to talk about them, but I'm down to talk about sleep apnea, because it's like one of the most common disorders in today's world. All right, let's look at actigraphy. Okay, so an actigraphic device looks similar to a wristwatch, aka a smartwatch, is worn on the wrist or the ankle. It includes an accelerometer, a data storage unit, and a timing mechanism. The data collection process is performed at least several days, several weeks, yada, yada, yada. So again, as I stated before, it's literally the accelerometer that decides how long you're sleeping for. That's why you see tweets where it says like, I was just so locked in that the watch thought I was asleep for like a solid 30 minutes. And that's because it's using your accelerometer, right? So yeah, it could definitely be used for, you know, the initial patient identification of certain disorders, right? So it's definitely used for that, but it's not the do-all end-all of that. So you need a sleep study for most sleep disorders. Anyways. But yeah, the question also is like, do you wear an Apple Watch while sleeping? Should you wear an Apple Watch while sleeping? I'd personally say no. It kind of seems counterintuitive. But yeah. Oh, not the actigraphy of proper sleep. Yeah. Proper sleep study. Of course you get that for sleep apnea. That's what I'm saying. Like, the sleep apnea is 100% the diagnosis for getting all this stuff done. Again, okay, good. This site says right here, it offers a broad overview, and then it says polysomnography. Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, this site, if you guys want to know what this site is, it's called Sleep Foundation. So it looks pretty straightforward. You know, I mean, they talk about everything sleep related, so it's pretty nice for just getting information about sleep on the web from Dr. Google. But again, doctors will help you too. That's what we're here for. But yeah, so since you guys are talking about sleep apnea, let's talk about the pathophysiology of it, because you get this drilled into you in medical school, and probably after residency, unless you're going into like medicine, you forget about it. Medicine being internal medicine, obviously, or family medicine. So sleep apnea is when you're in bed, right? So let's just say you're in REM, and then suddenly, and you're breathing normal. So you're breathing, and suddenly you stop breathing, right? This is called apnea. And when you stop breathing for a long period of time, that's like apnea, and you're dead. But sleep apnea is like stop breathing for a certain period of time, like a few seconds, right? And this wakes you up, or it can decrease the sleep stage. Like, you might go from REM to like N1, for example. because you're not breathing, your brain is like signaling, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, because you're not breathing. So your brain wants to restart that. And that's what sleep apnea is. Now, there's a lot of ways it can happen, but the biggest and the most common way, and I'm not saying this is everybody, is because of obesity. And the number one risk factor, or sorry, the number one factor is increased neck circumference. Basically, the increased neck circumference creates more tissue. And I'm going to draw like a simple mouth here. So the increased tissue is going to impinge right here, right? Or sorry, not the impinge, the tongue, for example. It's going to, fall back to cover this area. Then air can't go down, and this causes apnea. And since you have that apnea for a certain period of time, when you lose that atonia, next thing you know, you don't have apnea anymore. You're breathing again. So that's what sleep apnea is. Now, in Maddie's case, she had sleep apnea as a toddler. And one of the most common reasons for sleep apnea is enlarged tonsils as a kid. Maybe that's not what Maddie had, but bigger tonsils means that air cannot get down as easily. It's blocked. So there's two ways to fix it. Obviously, one way is to simply cut them out. The other way, which is a new way actually, is to shrink them, right? To make them tiny, very, very tiny. That way they won't grow again, right? So tonsils are important. They have immune function, but getting them out doesn't really kill you. So yeah. But yeah, I personally still have my tonsils, my adenoids, and you could shrink them for life, and it works. It's a very interesting procedure. Let me look it up. Let me search it up here. Cryotherapy tonsils. Yeah, here you go. So it's called cryosurgical tonsils, right? So you could use liquid nitrogen and just put it on the tonsil, shrinks it for good. And just so you know, I actually had this done on me. That's why I bring it up, because I actually had it done on me instead of getting tonsils out. So little Brylore, if you guys want to know about a bit of the stuff I've gone through. But yeah, the cryosurgery is very cool. I'm very glad that's picking up steam, and it's an alternative way to just getting them out completely, because of course immune function is very nice to have. So yeah. Nah, this is in the late 90s. Yeah, makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, this is just an example of how medicine is always evolving, right? Because we're learning brand new things every single day, new procedures, new ways to handle stuff. It's pretty cool things. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, anyways. So yeah, that's sleep apnea. Basically, let's just recap. Obesity can precipitate increased neck circumference. Increased neck circumference can take your tongue, and bring it down into the mouth when you have atonia, and then you have the apnea. When you're a kid, you have tonsillar hypertrophy that can block the airway, and then this causes sleep apnea. Shrinking them or getting rid of them will fix the sleep apnea in kids. I think this would have ended up yanking mine. I still got strep 2 to 3 times a year, even without... Yeah, it depends on what you want to do, right? I mean, if your tonsils are like... There's like a huge, divide. I don't know what exactly the divide is in terms of deciding whether or not to yank them or to just shrink them. So, I'm not sure. I had mine shrunk, and I'm doing perfectly fine, so I'm happy about that. But yeah. Alright, we got an ad starting soon, so again, take this time as like a question break. Any questions, anything you want me to cover real quick that you might have, you might want me to talk about, just let me know. I'd be happy to answer, but otherwise we can just keep yapping. I don't care. But yeah, yanking tonsils is definitely something that's done in today's time, taking it out. Getting them removed as adults hurts a ton. Yeah, because they've fully developed, right? So when they fully develop, they embed into your throat a lot more, and that's why. So that's why shrinking is a new option, because it's not gonna hurt as much, right? Because you're shrinking as opposed to taking them out, and then your body's like, oh my god, this is fucking terrible. So yeah. Nevertheless. But yeah, cryosurgical treatment is so fucking cool. I always love the new innovations in the liquid nitrogen because just like you freeze the shit out of your body and just cut it off or just like leave it there. It's so funny. Oh my god. The ENT who did my surgery said that he doesn't give pain meds to kids unless they ask. I mean, usually you just get ice cream for like a couple of days and then you're chilling. But yeah. That's how it works there. In my opinion, that's the cool part. Man. Alright. I kind of like the ad break sometimes because it gives me like a little chance to rest my voice. Because I speak for so long, my throat gets so fucking dry, you know? But yeah, dude, I refuse to swallow it. I refuse to swallow anything for 2 to 3 days because I was a brat. You see, here's the thing. Whenever I get sick, it usually hits my throat first, so I'm very used to like not being able to swallow stuff for like a period of time because like it's not really necessary. And I usually know like what to do. So when I got my tonsils shrunk, it was pretty straightforward. I just, you know, had ice cream and stuff like that. It was an interesting time, man. Like back in the day when these things weren't as popular. Nowadays they're probably done everywhere, but I had to go like to a completely different place in the US and in the world to get this procedure done because it's just so, you know, it's just like non-existent at the time. I was a dumb toddler. Yeah, fair enough. I was a dumb toddler. It's funny. Okay. So let's look at the next thing on my hit parade here. Alright, so I'll ask the chat here. Do you guys want to talk more about medical stuff about sleep, or do you want to move into the e-ink portion? Like the tablets and stuff? Because I still have some stuff I want to talk about with like drugs, sleep drugs, and what's can be used. Because I only talked about Romeltion, but there's other things. But I'd be happy to talk about the e-ink display as well. So what do you guys think? In the meantime, I'm gonna just close a few tabs because I got way too many open. Because you fuckers are like, oh, let's talk about sleep. Let's talk about sleep. Oh man, even though it's my fault. Okay, let me open all this garbage here. It's wrong thing. Whatever floats your boat. All right, so let's talk about my thing here. I'm gonna lock the iPad. Actually, I might need the iPad. Hold up. Fuck. Ah, damn it. Okay, there we go. Got it. Okay, we're good. Alrighty then. Let me get my hand cam on. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna show you guys the e-ink display here. Not... Oh god, I searched for Irium instead of my fucking app for webcam. I'm too VTuber pilled, guys. I'm talking about fucking Irium now. Do you guys know what Irium is? It's like this fucking mobile app VTuber thing. I don't even know how it works, honestly. Like, it's just... like this random, like, oh yeah, you get to like, yap with people and that's it. I don't know. I don't like it personally. Rico is on there. That's cool. That's cool. It's good if you just want to like yap with like nothing else. But like I always use an iPad and I like to draw shit. So I'm not a big fan of the Irium sphere. It's a tiny Twitch. I think like to be fair, like everything is a tiny Twitch because Twitch is like the first when it comes to like live streaming content. Where is my phone? Let me mount this guy up on the top here. Make sure my media is off. I'm doing it. Yep. Okay, we're good. And to be fair, like Twitch is kind of fucking itself over nowadays with all the changes it's making, so who knows? Maybe a different streaming platform might be the norm. I personally don't know. Are y'all aware of that? Fuck if I know. Not showing, thank God. Stole my pants. Oh, man. Y'all know it. Me in the nighttime. I'm a fucking crazy bastard. Alright. Here we go. Okay, and then... oh, jeez. Okay. Zoom in here. Forgive me for all of the cables I have on my desk. This is normal for me. Just so you know. I'm not showing it right now. Because I have to plug it in and I have to move this shit back. Okay, this needs to go away. Okay, perfect. All right, you guys ready? You guys ready to see the beautiful, magnificent e-ink reader that I bought because I had trouble sleeping at night? All right, let me show you guys. Da, 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 da. Yay, it's my hands. Wow, I'm not a woman. You can't, you probably can't. Ah, man. I have interesting hands. I don't know, people say that at times. Alright, so let me turn this bad boy on. So this right here is a Onyx Books tablet. The reason why I got it is because it's for a few reasons. I'll show you guys in a second. But I'd like to talk about e-ink at first, but let me just show you guys the tablet itself, because it's really fucking cool. I find this thing really interesting to work with. I know someone was gonna come on here for the e-ink segment of the stream, but I guess he didn't want to show. It's whatever. All right. As you can see, this right here is the tracking phone that I own. You guys think I should do like a YouTube video? Because a lot of people talk to me and they're like, yo, your hand cam stream is crazy, or you are able to VTube on a Mac? Like, what? How? And I'm always like, it's not that hard. So you guys think I should make a tutorial about that? I don't know. It's not that difficult to get started with that type of stuff. Do it? All right. I mean, I can if I have the time, so why not? All right. So yeah, this is the e-reader. I'm gonna actually zoom in here. Show you guys what it looks like. Yeah, this is a little difficult. Me. Okay. Can you focus? Sure. I guess this is good. So this right here is an e-ink display. You guys have probably seen this type of stuff before, right? E-ink is a different type of display technology. Yeah, Play Store is weird. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. But e-ink is a different type of display technology. And let's actually write it down, okay? Oops, shit. Okay, that's not what I want to do. Okay, so let's talk about e-ink. Now, traditional displays usually have the following components. They have some sort of backlight. This is for an LCD display, right? So this is the backlight. It shines out light. And then a set of filters, polarizing filters, bend the light in such a way that it displays different colors, right? So the thing is, this is a fully backlit display. And with an OLED display, it's even simpler, right? You have like your RGB LEDs embedded on an organic surface in pixels. And at any point, these display color. So there's no backlight involved with OLED, and this is why there are better blacks compared to LCD displays. Most devices nowadays have OLED displays, but they're expensive. So LCD is usually like the cheap version. And sometimes LCDs can be really good, right? There's also the mini LED displays that have the same form factor as this. But let's talk about the difference with e-ink. So e-ink, let's make 2 layers here. Now let's make a few chambers. Think of it, since you guys are from like the scientific lab community, think of it like the electrophoresis gels, or sorry, the pipette air wells, right? So you have like millions upon millions of wells in one display. And each of these wells contains particles of ink, right? And on one side, we have a positive charge, and the other side, we have a negative charge. So basically, e-ink is essentially changing the charge on each of these top and bottom electrodes. So either the ink goes up, right, using the properties of magnetism, or the ink goes down. So when the ink is down, you have white. And when the ink is up, like this, you have black. This is how e-ink works. Hopefully that makes sense. So it's just a shifting of charges in different sections of the display, which causes black and white to appear on the screen. that is the essential component. That's why there's like the e-ink refreshing, because sometimes you could have stuff that looks like this, right? Let me copy this here, paste it. Because again, since particles aren't exactly as easy to control compared to LCDs or LEDs, you might have stuff that looks like this, right? So it's partially stuck. This is why sometimes e-ink displays need a full refresh to properly get the stuff off the screen, otherwise you'll have after images, right? So a refresh is essentially just dragging all of the pigments up and then dragging the pigments back down. So now let's go over color e-ink, right? So we're going to draw the same diagram that we had before. And instead of black and white, we're going to have some black here, and maybe we'll have some red, maybe we'll have some blue, right? So we're going to do that for all of these. Okay. And finally the black. Okay. So basically, a charge can be partially activated, right? So based on the activation of that charge, you can either have the red side go up all the way to the top, or you can have the blue side go up all the way to the top. So what this displays is color. So you're going to see red. You're going to see blue. You might send the charge such that the black goes all the way up. And you might see black. So that's how color e-ink displays work. It's more complicated due to the ability of pigments, and you have partial charges as opposed to fully on or off. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. But yeah, so those are the differences between the original black and white and color e-ink. Okay? So let me just show you the website showing you guys an animation as to how e-ink specifically works. Let me just drag this guy up. So, here's the microcapsules. I think of it as like pipette wells. So you can see here, this is basically the illustration of how it works, right? So, sorry, I actually did a bit of misinfo there. So, let's go over it again. I apologize, but the main thing about e-ink displays and how they work, it's not the black and no black. It's actually black and white particles. So let's say we have the black particles here, and then we have red as white. So based on the charge, so we have the minus and the plus here, it's going to reverse the polarity, right? So these will switch places. You're going to either see black or white. Hopefully that makes sense. I apologize. That was a little bit of misinfo from me. But yes. So most of the e-ink technology nowadays utilizes this type of system. And color, as I showed before, is exactly what I showed as well. So you add a different charge to those particles. And that's really how it works there. And again, like you have RGB, you have CMYK, and those sorts of color schemes, which display different colors depending on the arrangement. So yeah, I don't know if you guys think this technology is cool and all, but it's interesting to me at least. But yes, so that's how an e-ink display works. Okay? So that's why, let's just look at my iPad on the cam here. This is my iPad, right? And this is my e-ink notebook. You can see that it looks very different. And that's especially the reason why. Okay, there we go, the camera focused. So yeah, you guys got any questions about e-ink in general? We'll tie it to the sleep in a second. How does it arrange itself so the correct color displays? Again, that's a good question actually. It is the partial activation of the charge. So instead of mixing together, again, it's charges, right? So basically it's layering, right? So you can bring the red layer up based on the amount of charge you give. So let's say these are not standard units. I don't know what the standard units are, but we could say like this is 1, this is 0, and this is like 0.5, for example, right? So when you charge to like 0.5, these ones up top are going to be pushed down, and these ones over here are going to be pushed up to the forefront. So it's like one thing at a time can show, just based on polarity. So it doesn't mix together in that sense, right? Okay. So one thing to note, actually, before I do that, let me just show you guys the different versions of the tablet I have. So I feel like the most recognizable e-ink tablet is the Kindle, right? So you have, let me just go on Amazon real quick. So let me open a private tab. Oopsie. Don't do that. Amazon Kindle. This was the thing that just made everybody be like, oh my god, this is amazing. Okay, let me change the location here. That's fine. Okay, here we go. So, sorry, I'm just rearranging a few windows. Okay. Oh, for the love of God, why is it showing the books? Fuck me. Alright, here we go. So, okay. Dude, come on, man. Oh, that's why it's consuming. I'm like seeing all new Kindle Paperwhite users guide. Who is buying this? 670. Wait, who is actually buying this? Yo, do these people know that YouTube exists? Or like the Amazon official documentation exists? Who's buying official guide to the Kindle e-reader? Okay, here we go. So this is the Amazon Kindle, right? So it's basically just, you know, an e-ink display designed for reading, and that's it. You know, very small stuff. And that's all you need. So you buy the books and you just use the Kindle like as is, right? Now the problem with the Kindles, unfortunately, is that they're very closed, right? So the Kindles are extremely closed source, and jailbreaking them is pretty much impossible now with the latest firmware, apparently. So there are other options that emerged, right? One option is Kobo. So Kobo is a type of e-reader similar to the Kindle, but it's more easily jailbreakable, and the ecosystem is somewhat there, right, to read your own books and PDFs and EPUBs. But then you go into the Android e-readers. Now, the interesting part is that Android can run on an e-ink display. I did not fucking know that this was possible, but it is pretty sick, like the e-reader I have here. So let's make a categorization. So we have the Kindle, we have the Kobo, and then we have Android. All right, so Android, the most popular company is Onyx. Then there's also Pocketbook, I think, that has Android. Kobo is proprietary. Kindle is very proprietary. And I also used to own a Remarkable back in the day for note-taking, and that's proprietary. Somewhat. Some of the OS is open source for that. But yeah. So basically, since the Android version ebooks, e-readers are there, they're very open because it's Android. You can install any fucking app you want on there. Let's go over the pros and cons then. So the thing about e-ink displays, unlike an LCD or an LED display, an LED display needs to be constantly showing a certain color, right? An e-ink display can just have the color on top, let's say black, for example, and it stays there. That color will stay there until the electrode polarity changes, telling the color to go to a different spot. So this is why, if you just leave an e-ink device sitting there, the battery will not budge an inch because of this principle right here. That's why people buy e-ink displays for reading, because, you know, the battery is really good due to this principle. But there's a lot of pros and cons when it comes to e-readers, right? So for example, the Android e-reader here, since it's running Android, it probably might have bad battery life, depending on what you're doing. Whereas the Kindle and Kobo will have good battery life, because they're not really doing too much. It's a very streamlined, optimized operating system, right? So you got to keep that in mind when it comes to open versus closed source stuff, because, you know, you might have a different experience. And again, the OSs usually on the Onyx and Pocketbook aren't fully open. They're like semi prop. All right, so yeah, but nevertheless, so Android e-readers are a very, very nice thing to buy. So I wonder if you guys can guess what type, based on, you know, the stuff I'm doing around VTubing. I watch a lot of anime. Could you guys guess what type of media I read? I wonder if you guys can take a while to guess, because it seems like it's something that, you know, will be a very, very easy choice to make. But yeah, the main thing I read is manga, right? So reading manga is something that's very easy nowadays, thanks to apps like Tachiyomi, Mihan, whatever. And because of that, that's why the e-reader is so nice. Since it run Android, I could just straight up run Mihan. I have all of my manga right here. And let's just let me find one that's, you know, good. Let's just open this one. I don't fucking care. So you can see it's just basically Mihan. And then I have the manga right here. So it's pretty cool, right? I know, it's cool to me at least. That I basically just have a manga device that's good on the eyes. And the main reason why e-ink exists is because it's better on the eyes. Any sort of light source, you know, it doesn't feel like you're reading a page. E-ink is essentially just ink on a digital display. So it's the same thing as like reading a book. Now, I'm gonna put this on lock for a second. Let's talk about reading before sleeping, right? Because the previous sleep hygiene stuff said the bed is only for sleep and sex. That's a pretty cool display. It's all paperish. Have you guys ever seen Kindles or anything like that? I'm genuinely curious. Have you seen like e-ink displays in person? It's a really, really niche topic nowadays because people, you know, don't really read, or they just read on like their iPad or something. I'll explain why that's a bad idea, especially in the nighttime. But yeah, so let me just, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. I apologize. I wanted a Kindle, but the last time I tried to get one, yeah. So instead of a Kindle, you should just buy one of these. You could buy the Onyx Books is a really fucking good. Oh, the Nook, yeah. The Onyx Books is a really fucking good piece of technology. The battery life does suffer depending on what you're doing with it, but you'll be able to read PDFs, EPUBs, whatever on this thing, as opposed to a Kindle. We actually have to buy the stuff, and you can't really buy it on third-party marketplaces because you're not supporting the. You have to buy it from Amazon's publishing. It's just fucking terrible. Like if you have like a PDF or something, you can't use it on the Kindle because like it won't let you unless you jailbreak it. So that's its own thing. But if you don't want to jailbreak your fucking device, this guy is what you want. Let me just show you guys the website here. Let's see. Long time ago? Yeah. What do you mean, boo? What did I do? Okay, let's just go over the... Okay, yeah, there's also like a surge of e-ink tablets used for note-taking. I, you know, don't use this anymore because an iPad is just like 50 times better, but yeah, what I'm looking for is the... oh yeah, they made like a little phone-shaped e-reader as well. Yeah, this one. This is the one I have. So, Amazon. yeah. So I have two. So the device I currently own, let me just put this on top, is the black and white version of this Onyx tablet, right? And if I keep it like this and I, you know, turn off the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth, the battery will probably stay properly fine. Maybe Android will be doing some stupid shit and that will cause the battery to drain, but otherwise it's pretty good. But yeah, let's go over. So this is the black and white version. And I'll tell you why I got the black and white version in a second. But you can see here that they have a color version and they have a black and white version, right? And they also really fucking redid the page. God damn. But yeah. So these are the Go 7. And the beautiful thing about this is that they have like these page turn buttons here. So let's say, oh, I did not want to do that. Let's say I go into read Kobayashi's Maid or something like that, you know? Pretty good manga series, by the way. I recommend it. Oh, I don't have the Wi-Fi on. Let me turn that back on. Oopsie. So, yeah, while that's going. Okay. So I use the page buttons to turn the pages in the manga. So I can hold it like this, have a little case. You know, I can just pop this open. And I can be like, ooh, I'm reading in the nighttime. So you see what I mean? I like being able to swap the text colors. What do you mean? Like, in terms of like a color display? Or something like that? Or no? Or do you... I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. Sorry. Let me go back from this so I don't get any copyright bullshit. This is my legit manga, guys. Wow. Okay. Oh, man. I have a whole thing about... I'm gonna probably do a whole stream about today's media and streaming services and how their shit are. Oh, dyslexic. I read better on it. Oh, okay. Okay, I see. Yeah. I think it would be possible to invert the fucking colors on this thing. That is interesting. Black page with white text. I mean, some people do that with, like, dark mode. Because dark mode is king. But, like, yeah. Wait, let's keep going over the Go series here. This is the one I recommend if you want to read manga, because it allows you to add Mihan, which is a really fucking good app for manga. The iOS version is Idoku, and also just paperback, but I like Idoku more. It's made by my friend too, so I have my bias there. But yeah. So the color version, as you can see, has a lot more color. Sure. Also, these colors here are not true to life. I'll show you what I mean in a second. But yeah, they also have the stylus, which is kind of useless, in my opinion. They also give, like, the big boys. There's a lot of ways to run Android stuff. The only thing about Onyx tablets is that they're from China. They might phone... So, you know, you might have, like, that thing about phoning home. I don't think it does, but good to just be careful. But yeah. So you can see here. And whenever they show screens like this, they show Karta, they show Kaleido. These are just, like, the different types of screens from the E-Ink company, because there's only one company that makes these screens. And anyone can adjust it in the way that you want to, right? And these are running older versions of Android too, so Android 13, Android 14, Android 15 is just not there. Might be in the future, but who knows. And let's look at the Kindle price, actually. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. So to get, like, the full openness, you might need to spend a pretty penny. They are expensive, right? They are definitely expensive. I'd say they're worth it, in my opinion. But, you know, a Kindle is $100, but you're going to have to do a lot more work and the possibility of not being able to jailbreak it. So that's another thing. There's also the Kobo. Let me look that up. Let's see what that costs. Okay, so that costs, you know, $139 for the most basic one. I personally like the page turn buttons on the e-reader because it's really, really nice to have, especially when you're, like, sitting down and you don't want to start swiping. It's really nice. But yeah, so you could either pay less, get something a bit more closed, or you could pay a bit more and get a fully open ecosystem. So yeah, Pika was saying, like, Play Store is kind of whack there. I agree. I mean, it feels so weird to have the Play Store on this thing. I'm not gonna lie. Let me just go home here. Because, yeah, because it's an Android device, you could actually have the Play Store on this thing. Oh my god, we got an ad. Are you fucking kidding me? But yeah. Is my music playing? Hello? There we go. What is going on? But yeah, I didn't know that you read better with dyslexia using a black page with white text. That I never knew about. Honestly, I've never learned much about dyslexia. Because it's something that's not really taught in medical school. Maybe I'll learn it in peds, if anything. But yeah, it's like... I don't know, I'd like to learn more about it, and I do know a lot of people who do have dyslexia, so it's most definitely interesting in that regard. But yeah. Alright. So, what do I show you guys? Now, somebody was also inquiring whether a e-reader... Oh, never mind, we got an ad break. Go fuck yourself, Twitch. God damn it, dude. I was gonna yap about something. Twitch is like, no, we're not gonna do that today. Fuck you. Christ. Anyways, again, if you guys got any questions, anything in general that you want to ask me, let me know. I always say this. I don't know anything about why it works. It's just something I heard as an adult, and I'm like, it's a harmless color swap. Can't hurt to try. Interesting. Okay, so it's just like something that you heard online. It's fair. I mean, you know, what do you... Okay, let me just ask you this then. What do you think about... no, what was I gonna say? So, how did you feel when you did swap the colors around? Did you feel like it was easier to read? Did you feel like it was easier to focus, easier to understand? Because I'm genuinely interested in this. This is something I've never heard of, and I'd like to see if it's, you know, how it changes things. Because I know dyslexia, it's like stuff can't really be strung together. It doesn't hurt my eye. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, so it doesn't hurt your eyes trying to like comprehend all those words and stuff like that? Or is it like not hurting your eyes because you're getting eye strain? Okay, less eye strain. Okay, so I'll wait for the ad to finish, but I do want to go over the other benefit of an e-ink display, and this is going to tie into the sleep stuff. I just wanted to really talk about the, you know, e-ink itself just before I, you know, talked about the comparisons between everything else. Okay, ad breaks over. Beautiful. Okay, so let's talk. So you can see that this basically just looks like a book, right? It's just e-paper as opposed to actual paper, and it's literally ink. It's like ink on a page. Now, let's turn off the webcam for now. And I just want to show you, let's compare the two types of displays. So, if you've ever been, I found it easier to like go over the text again and again, the text hovers less. That's cool. That's cool. Good to know. But let's go over the Go 7 versus the Go Color 7. And this really applies for like any color and versus black and white e-ink display. The reason why black and white e-ink displays exist is because the color has an extra layer. I'm not sure what that extra layer is, but it can be desaturated. It can look a little washed out. Right, so you get the color, and it's really, really good for stuff like comics or graphic novels. Or like, you know, manhwa. To be fair, I don't know why you'd read that in an e-reader, but if you want to, then a color e-reader might be a better choice. But then the black and white e-reader, it's, you know, higher fidelity. And it's very useful for stuff like books, ebooks, and manga. Basically, any black and white content is going to look way better on a black and white display than on a color display for e-ink. Because basically color, you can think of it as the jack of all trades, master of none. Whereas black and white is the master of black and white. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, when it comes to the black and white versus the color, another thing to note is the battery life. So you're going to have a much lower battery life with color because you're doing more, right? And you're going to have a higher battery life with black and white. So again, it all depends on what you want to read and what you want to do with the e-reader. If you want to read graphic novels, if you want to use it as like a nighttime tablet, then get a color version, right? It's a no-brainer. But if you're just using it for reading, like I do, the literal only thing I have on my e-reader is Mihon, then just get a black and white one, because it's going to be a much better time for you, and it's going to look better, it's going to scale better, etc. So yeah, please keep that in mind when buying an e-reader for yourself. But the main thing about e-reading that relates to sleep is eye strain. And Maddie mentioned this in a different way, obviously, but eye strain. Usually, sleeping gets difficult because of something people like to say, blue light, right? So the marketing term nowadays is blue light hurts sleep. Do you guys know this? Do you guys ever hear of it? It's common in phones, computers, etc. with the night shift modes. I don't know if you guys remember Flux back in the day. That was an application that adjusted the color temperature for you based on the time of day. And this adjusts the color temperature to display. So at nighttime, you get warmer colors, designed to make it easier to sleep. While that's true, it's also not true at the same time, right? So blue light is definitely one of the light frequencies that can help suppress melatonin. And there is blue light everywhere because obviously tech manufacturers are like, if we just adjust this one software thing, more people will be using tech in the nights instead of, reading books or just not using tech at all. So that's where nightlight came into play. And it does work somewhat. But it's not just blue light that affects your ability to sleep. There's multiple things, right? There's stress. There's content. So, like, what are you doing? Are you playing, like, a high-stakes, high-paced game? Or are you just listening to some vibe music in the stream? Which should be relaxing. And then also, it's, like, brightness. Right? And backlight. So, all three of these are going to affect your sleep and your sleep ability. Like, the ability to fall asleep. Like, you might be up and you might not know why. And the reason why is because, you've had these things happen to you despite having your blue light blocker on. Like, yeah, of course that's going to happen. And obviously, let's say you have the person here and you have the phone with a backlight. The backlight is shining directly such that the phone or the display is illuminating. And same with like OLED, right? There's no backlight, but you still have illuminating LEDs that are shooting towards your face. Now, let me do something real quick. I'm actually going to show you guys a feature on the e-ink display. Oh, fuck you. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to cut the lights. I don't think all the lights cut out, but it just should be plenty. Okay, so you can see that the display has darkened significantly, right, when I cut the lights. This is because an e-ink display requires you to have a good light source. But that's where... Oh, that's why. Okay, that's where this feature comes in. So there is a lighting system in the e-ink display, right? This is common on devices such as the Kindle Paperwhite. Let me show you. Here, let me look it up here. So this guy right here, called the Kindle Paperwhite, and it has a brightness right here. You can see it has this little brightness slider, but this is not a backlight, right? This is not a backlight here. This is something called a front light. And you can see it's called front light and not backlight in the manual here. So let me explain how a front light works. Okay? If I could find the iPad here. Switch between my 50 different monitors. Okay, there we go. So, we established that this is the backlight. A front light works by having lights or LEDs in the bezel of the e-ink display. These LEDs then shine onto this display and it gets reflected to the person. So it's essentially just like, reading a book under natural light. And when I turn the lights on again, you'll see that the front light here kind of, gets washed out because front lighting, it's really overpowered by the ceiling light, right? So that's why it looks different. So let me turn the lights back on again. Okay, there we go. Okay. And you can see now that the front light really isn't visible. I'm gonna turn it off, and you can really see that it's just off now. So, no battery drain. And of course, having the front light on will more than likely give you some battery drain, but yeah. So this is a technology that has been marketed to be good for sleeping because it not really sleeping, it's good for eye strain. Because you're reading on the e-ink tablet just like you would a normal book in that case, except it's in the dark. And since it's reflecting like you would with like a table lamp and a book, like an actual book, then it's giving that same feeling to the eyes, which causes the eye strain to drastically reduce. As opposed to a backlight where you're directly shining light into your eyes, causing your eyes to, focus more on the content on the screen, like your phone or your iPad or something. This is why people tend to say that an e-ink device is greater than an iPad for reading, specifically. Right? And that's personally why I bought one of these. And I've also experienced it myself. It's really, really nice for nighttime reading and nighttime usage. So I highly recommend an e-ink device. This is my opinion, by the way. This is not like, you know, oh, it's e-ink versus iPad better. No, do whatever the fuck you want, but this is what I think. So yeah, you can read in the dark if you want, but again, you have all of these things here that are, it's not just the blue light, it's these things plus the blue light that could hurt sleep. So just be aware that having a front light is not going to magically solve your sleep problems. It's the good sleep hygiene. It's the ability to, you know, decrease your stress, not play something that's activating your sympathetic nervous system right before bed, not over brightening the screen so that you're fucking up your sleep, you know? So yeah. But yeah, front lit displays are pretty fucking cool. And in my opinion, like, they're really, really good for just evening out the light on the screen. Especially, like, let's just say you have like a dimly lit environment. I don't have a light dimmer here, so I can't test that. But let's just say I have a dimly lit environment, right? And maybe you could turn on the front light and you could just, like, you know, change it a bit. I'm not showing it. You can just turn on the front light to, like, even out the page contrast so that looks better, right? In my case, I don't really need to do that. I'll switch that for later. But yeah. So that, does that make sense, guys? Did I talk about e-ink displays good enough for you? Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I invested like a little bit of Brylore. I investigated into e-ink displays because, you know, I had a lot of issues sleeping, and I'm guilty of using my phone before bed for like watching anime or something like that. So that could be overstimulating. That could have been overstimulating. So I decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'm taking my sleep seriously, especially since I have rotations now. So, you know, I do like reading manga before I go to sleep or something like that, just to wind myself down. I think everybody likes reading before they go to bed. And reading or watching something or doing something else. I don't know if you guys do that, but something I personally do, you know? And it's kind of like a habit for me. So having this, you know, digital paper, because, you know, physical manga is near impossible to come by unless you want to spend an arm and a leg. So digital is the main way to get manga to read. I don't really read actual books. I don't read light novels. That stuff not interesting for me. I'm a simple person. So yeah, that's why I like the manga side of things. But yeah. That's why I got this thing. And it's definitely helped me, you know, wind down for the night after like this stream or something where I just want to, you know, crash. That's pretty cool. I don't know, just a little thing I want to share. But yeah, I do have... Hey Dung, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. I was gonna suggest audio. That works too. Yeah. Audio. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. We are just I've been talking about sleep for like the past couple hours actually. So yeah, welcome in. But yes, audiobooks are also good. Like, you could put headphones in your ears. The only thing about that is, when you're sleeping, obviously take them out when you go to sleep. The only bad part is that, you know, using earplugs when you're in bed can precipitate to infection, because you can get like otitis externa because you keep them in there for too many days. That's a possibility. But yeah, I mean, if you're just putting the audiobook on speaker next to you, that would be pretty cool. I know some people do that, and that is a very interesting way to do it. So, e-ink, audiobooks. I have a headband. Yeah. Oh, wait, there are headbands? Wait. I'm actually curious. I can't read manga or watch anime anymore for some reason. All I read are web novels, not even books. Yeah, fair. Yeah, web novels are a new trend, aren't they? Right? Actually, wait, you guys can probably see, like... So, here's my night shifted iPad right here. You can see it's very amber. And here's my e-ink tablet here. So you can see it's like, looks very different. And even though I'm talking for so long, this is not fucking budged an inch, which is pretty fucking cool, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, headband. What is that? Speaker. Oh, one of these things? Wait, Doug, is it one of these things here? Yo, that's cool. Wait, what? So, okay, yeah, this is definitely less likely to infect your ears, that's for sure. Oh, that's pretty fucking sick. Yeah, something similar? Are you free from work? Let's go, bro. Hell yeah. No more looking at a computer. Now you go look at another computer. For those in chat, Hika is physician, so I'm making fun of him. But yeah, okay. I did not know those existed. Thank you for bringing those up. So sleep headband, interesting. Because I know people say like, oh yeah, just put earplugs in your ears and you'll be chilling. But yeah, it's not a good idea. But, ooh, I'll definitely take a look into this. Pretty sweet. So yeah, you can listen to audiobooks with that. There we go. All right. Anyways, but yeah, welcome in, Doug. If you do have any questions about, I tell this to all the people in chat, but if you guys have any questions about anything I say, because I do get a little technical, then just let me know anytime, any place. Oh yeah, dude. I low-key thought you were at the hospital because I'm on rotations and I sometimes just forget what day it is. I thought today was Friday because I usually stream on Fridays, but something came up yesterday and I had to stream today. So it's like, oh fuck. I'm like, it's a Saturday. I have work in 2 days. Fuck me. I'll probably stream Saturday next week as well because I have like a special hangout next week that I gotta attend. But yeah. So, but yes, yeah. So that's the entire e-ink thing. Again, if you want manga, get yourself Mihon. Amazing fucking app. I love it. It allows you to load manga from online. Great. But yeah, let's go over. What did I want to talk about? Oh yeah. There was an article about reading and sleep. Hold on. Oh, and then there's also this article. I'm gonna open it here. 1 second, guys. I'm not looking at chat. Boop. And then that's not it. Where is it? Oh, here. It's 2 articles I want to show you guys. Okay, so first one is reading before bed. Oops. So many people have trouble falling asleep at least some of the time, and an estimated 15% of adults find it hard to fall asleep most nights. While some difficulties ultimately require medical treatment, yada yada yada, you got insomnia, you might need some pills. I'm kidding, you're just having a problem with sleeping. Alright, reading before bed. Research suggests that people who read before bed generally sleep better. But again, the previous Harvard sleep hygiene article and stuff that I learned in school usually says that the bed is for sleep and sex, not reading. So who do you believe, you know? But I personally think reading is perfectly fine. You wake up less often, sleep longer for people who go to bed, yada yada yada. Alright, so bedtime routine, relaxation, mental health benefits, and it's an alternative to screen time. Like a certain someone in chat, aka all of you, who probably use a screen before bed because you're watching me, and I really appreciate that. And I'm using multiple screens right now, so yeah, we're all guilty about this. But what type of books are good at night? Are electronic or paper books preferred at bedtime? Although e-readers are convenient and popular, they emit blue light. Okay, so this is just not true. As you can see, if an e-reader emitted blue light, then if I shut the lights off, then I'd be able to see something. So that's just not true. They're probably talking about the front light, right? So if you turn on the bright version, you'll see that it brightens up here. And then I turn on the soft mode. That just turns on an amber light instead. So yeah, they're probably talking about like the front light, so that's wrong. I'm just gonna skip that. And also, Mr. Dung here talks about audiobooks. Also, do you want me to call you Dung? Do you want me to call you Spren? Just let me know what you want me to call you, because I'm not 100% sure. So, it talks about how do audiobooks affect readiness to sleep. So, listening to an audiobook every night can be a part of an effective bedtime routine that helps a person wind down. Audiobooks do not have the same... Either is fine? Okay, sweet, dude. Audiobooks do not have the same beneficial effects on sleep quality as reading. People who don't want to or are unable to read a book and find that audiobooks aren't helping them sleep might listen to soothing music. So yeah, there are many different ways to try falling asleep, especially like, you know, I personally like books. Dung here likes audiobooks. And Hika likes reading web novels for some reason, like a weirdo. I'm kidding. Does reading to children help them sleep? We're gonna skip that. All right, here we go. So, to maximize the benefits of reading before bed, incorporate the sleep hygiene practices. Begin and end your bedtime routine at the same time, dim the lights, other relaxing activities, and avoid alcohol and nicotine. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And then there was this other article. So when I talked about like night shift and the nightlight mode, like the amber mode on phones and displays, this is what I wanted to show. So this is BYU. It's a university in Utah. I know a person that went there for undergrad. So yeah, but it was an interesting time back then. So how often have you laid beds, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's why do we believe that the emitted blue light disrupts melatonin? To reduce this feature, Apple introduced night shift, and pretty much everybody has night shift nowadays. Most smartphones have some sort of night mode function. Until recently, claims of better sleep due to night shift have been theoretical. However, a new study from BYU published in Sleep Health challenges the premise made by phone manufacturers, aka the marketing term, right? Blue light glasses can help, but they won't, fix it. But let's see what these guys say. So they test the theory, and there's no difference across the three groups who use the night shift feature. Okay. So, 167 adults who use their cell phones daily. They do actinophy. I don't know how to say it. They used what is it? One second, I'm scrolling up on they used an actigraphy device to measure the sleep activity, and they used an app to monitor the phone use. Okay. So there was no significant difference in the three categories. And they checked on different groups, 7 hours of sleep, 6-hour group of sleep, so there's no different sleep outcomes. There was the individuals who do not use a phone before to bed experience better sleep quality. That makes sense. The results suggest that's not blue light alone that creates difficulty falling or staying asleep. The psychological engagement experienced when texting, scrolling, or posting is important factors. There's a lot of evidence suggesting that blue light increases alertness. It's important to think about what portion. Okay. So, let's go over this article here because it talks about just what I talked about, right? The blue light blocking alone won't help you. Like, again, I'm gonna go back to the same fucking point again. Stress, the stuff you use, the stuff you do, right? And the stuff you watch, the backlight, all of that stuff contributes. It's a multifactorial thing for not being able to sleep properly. So yeah, that's how it works. Now, making it amber is not going to suddenly like fix your fucking sleep problem, right? That's never going to work. So yeah, you got to really think of it in that regard. It's just it just doesn't make much sense when people say, oh my god, you just try a night shift and it fixes your sleep problems. No, it doesn't. Let's be real, guys. Let's just be real. All right, but yeah, so this study basically quantified what I personally said theoretically. I remember there were many studies that came out last year that talked about this type of stuff. That's interesting. But yeah. Okay. Anyways. So, I just want to ask the chat here. I got a few things that I could talk about. It's getting a bit late, so I do have a few things I am okay with talking about if you guys want to hear it. But are there any questions about sleep that you guys have? Because we did cover a lot today, right? We covered a lot. We talked about different stages of sleep. We talked about some sleep disorders. We talked about the e-ink display, whether or not you should use it. Also, all this time, we're still at 70% battery, boys. But yeah. Do people in the North Pole sleep better with the sunbeam? That's an interesting thought. I personally say possibly yes, because they have like blackout curtains and stuff like that. But yeah, again, it's jet lag, right? So you're forcing yourself to go through some sort of jet lag every single season with the North Pole, because sometimes in the North Pole the sun's up all the time, and other times the sun's never up. So it's like, when the fuck do I sleep and when the fuck do I stay awake? So your bodily clock is able to regulate it that way, and eventually it can become independent of the sunlight. I think there is a way it can become independent. I'm not 100% sure though, so don't quote me on that. North Pole sleeping. Let's look this up. Okay. I'm not talking about the best direction to sleep in. I say North Pole, and it's talking about the direction to sleep. Okay. Sleeping at the North Pole. How polar explorers get rest in extreme cold. Let's see this. Yada yada yada. Okay, so I'm just gonna scroll through here real quick. Just skim this. We go to the polar trip. Yeah. Okay, so what's the polar weather condition? How do they get sleep? Okay. So every day the team finds itself sleeping in a new location, there are all sorts of things to consider when deciding where to set up camp. Adding the look, the feel, the color, the ice, the snow conditions all factor into the decision. Polar explorers sleep in tents. I assume at a research station they'll sleep in the station. So they use a hot water bottle to warm up the midsection. They close the eyes. So, for Dung, from the looks of it, right, you do have some light coming in, but basically like tents and the ability to like close the curtains or to shut the blinds, it basically creates that seemingly dark situation. Let's just say it's like 7 p.m. You shut all of your windows at that time, and then your body will start to adapt. Obviously, sleep direction is feet to the east, go with the flow. I'll look at the sleep direction thing in a bit, I guess. Similar to a regular night at home, 8 hours of sleep is good. Yeah, okay. Your body starts to... if you don't get enough sleep, your body starts to break down. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. That's gonna happen. What? Okay, okay, let's talk... I'll talk about sleep deprivation after this. That's actually pretty... I want to talk about that now. We'll talk about the facing a certain direction thing. I don't feel so good. I mean, your body starts to break down mainly because of nutritional depletion, not sleep deprivation. You go insane if you don't have if you don't have enough sleep for a certain period of time. Like, I think you'll actually die if you don't have... if after, like, a certain amount of days with no sleep. I low-key think that's possible. That's what I've heard, at least. I'll look at it in a second. Okay, let's see. Well, I mean, this is not what Dung asked, but this is another problem. While the South Pole is fairly predictable, North Pole ice can crack underneath sleeping explorers. Okay, sleep torture is a thing. I mean, yeah, sleep terrors, but no, what? This is not just sleep torture. This is like actual torture. You know, like like I said before, stress will fuck up how you sleep. This is more than just like sleeping. This is more just like night terrors. This is like I'm actively sleeping on ice, and it might give away at me at any moment, and I'm just gonna fall into the freezing cold water. Fuck no, bro. I don't want to do this shit. If there's an active bear situation, god damn. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, a lot of us have night sweats. Our bodies are used to producing so much heat. Vivid dreams. Okay. Yeah, it's just a normal thing. But I'd assume, like, in the case of, like, these tents here, they use these tents or they are, like, a darker color or something so that they can get sleep. Of course, you have the ice problem, and then you have the polar bear problem, which will probably jump on you or something. I don't fucking know, dude. I got no idea how in the world where this even came from, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, man. I wonder, like, let's just say you're rock climbing, right? And you're climbing for, like, a full day. You gotta sleep on, like, a ledge or something. I don't know. Oh, we got an ad break coming soon. Sorry, guys. You're sleeping on a ledge or something. How do you fall asleep and not be like, I'm gonna roll over and fall off the fucking cliff? Right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being an ignorant dumbass here, but dude, when it comes to extreme sports that require multiple day things, how do you feel like you're not gonna fall off or like be in some sort of precarious situation? Just go to sleep. People are built different, bro. I don't even know. Let's look up sleep deprivation. Okay. Because I didn't research this. Okay, here we go. Alright, I'll wait for the ad to start because it should be there in a second. Ads are stupid. I don't know if you guys like Twitch or hate Twitch, but I personally hate Twitch because of all these fucking ads that show up. Yep, there it is. Okay, cool. Oh man, but again, for those people who don't have ads, Q&A anytime. But yeah. Fucking, fucking falling through the ice is crazy. Let's see. I'm gonna also look up the facing direction. So, north facing. Let's see. Facing north or sleep. Okay. Okay. So this is the Indian tradition of Vastu Shastra. Shastra, I think that's what's called. Feng Shui. Okay. Well, yeah, it is a thing. Why do you think I talked about it just now? It is a thing. And based on my personal heritage, it's actually a link to that. But yes. So it talks about harmonization with energy. Will it work? Maybe. I have no fucking idea personally. Oh, here we go, Hika. Sleeping east is good. Oh man. All right. Let's just wait for the ad to finish. But I think I want the ad to end on this specific image right here. My super sleep intuition. Yep. Oh my fucking god, dude. Alright, ad break's over. Thank you guys for going through that bullshit. Okay, so the best direction to sleep, guys. Let's go over it, and then I'll talk about sleep deprivation. So creating the ideal sleep environment starts with the basics. Dim lighting, calming wall colors, yada yada yada. Okay, so we got Eastern medicine, spiritual traditions. There's something called Vastu Shastra, or Feng Shui. Western science have to say about what way to face for the best night's sleep. The idea that sleep direction might affect your rest is because the human body is sensitive to the magnetic field. Brainwave activity was exposed to manipulated electromagnetic fields, suggesting our biology could respond to the planet's natural energy. This has sparked curiosity across scientific and spiritual communities. So basically, since our bodies are in line with the magnetic field of the Earth, basically like the direction we're facing can align with that field and get us better sleep. That's what it's basically saying. So let's see. So if you're facing north, it creates tension that may lead to headaches and other health problems. So north is bad. East harnesses the power of the sun to boost mental focus. So Hika was right. Sleeping east is good. South, the body's magnetic energy is aligned with the earth and it improves sleep quality. So southeast is good. West may include bad dreams and nightmares. So after this stream, I ask you guys, get a compass on your phone and see what direction you're facing into sleep. And then let me know in the Discord. So that we can talk about, how to fix your Vastu Shastra, Anyway, I mean, it's stuff to be believed, Like, you can believe it or not. It's up to you whether or not you think this is true. If you're sleeping well already, who fucking cares, right? So, yeah. But that's pretty fucking funny, I'm not gonna lie. Like, again, direction might help you sleep better, right? But it's not just direction that'll help you sleep better. Good sleep hygiene is always good. I sleep north. Ah, dude, you're gonna get headaches now. I'm sorry. That's probably why you're drinking so much Celsius, because you're getting too many headaches. And that's making you cranky. And you're drinking a shit of Celsius just to fix it. That's why. I sleep north. I only drink one. One is enough, bro. One is too much. You need coffee. I'm kidding. Bro, like, goes on the computer and shotguns a Celsius and just looks at fucking radiology reports on some fucking caffeine high. Oh, man. That's funny as hell. Nah, bro, I'm in the hospital, right? And I think I see Celsius cans everywhere. I see them. Stop calling me out. What, I'm predicting you? I'm predicting you now? Oh my god, that's crazy. Oh, man. Also, for all the other people in chat, Dung as well. Are you in like the healthcare field or anything? Or are you just like, vibing out, listening to fucking medical shit just because? I don't know. I'm always curious about whether or not someone's in the healthcare field, because everybody has fun stories about those types of jobs. And I also have like, I also make fun of people because I'm in the same fucking boat. Alright, according to Feng Shui in the north side of Asia. Okay, ancient Chinese practice improves your chi. It promotes calm, restorative sleep. Okay. And then the Vastu Shastra, which is my heritage. Ancient Indian system or architecture that emphasizes designing spacious and natural alignment with alignment with natural forces. According to Vastu Shastra, the ideal sleep direction is with your head pointing east and your feet west. This is the aligning you with the rising sun. That's pretty cool, honestly. Close second is with your head pointing south, promoting longevity, wealth, and better health. Okay, fair enough. Okay, Western medicine. So yeah, the interesting part is that I was sleeping in accordance with feng shui. Well, it's not saying sleeping north is good. This is just saying it's in like the... Oh, no, wait, no, I'm stupid. Sorry, never mind. Never mind. Holy shit, I can't read. Yeah, north is good for feng shui. Can you sleep accordance to feng shui? North or south? Well, Eastern philosophies have long emphasized sleep orientation. Alright, the electromagnetic field. North-south direction experienced improved sleep quality and lower blood pressure. Okay. Interesting. Some animals like cattle and deer instinctively align themselves along a north-south axis. Okay. How did they observe this? I genuinely want to know. Like, was it just farmers that saw this shit? They're like, oh my god, my cows are sleeping in the same direction. Like, did they just go into the forest and they just fucking observe deer sleeping? Low-key, that would be cute as fuck, but... they just... Cow compass. Yeah, exactly. If you don't have the sun... If you don't have a compass, just look at the cows when they're sleeping. Oh my god. Oh, man. Yeah. This was very interesting. I'll try to make fun of it. It's just very interesting to see this stuff. Okay, but let's talk about sleep deprivation. Alright, because we talked about, like, in the other article, it said, like, not sleeping enough will make your body start wasting itself, which is not true, by the way, from what I think. I'm gonna look at this and see if it is, but yeah. Sleep deprivation is when a person doesn't get enough sleep. Yeah, big fucking whoop, buddy. Like, okay, yeah, that is what it means, sure. Oh my god. Have you guys ever read Call of the Night, the manga? The one where, like, the guy, it has, like, hella insomnia. He meets, like, this fucking hot vampire chick. And she, like, takes him around. That guy has, like, severe sleep deprivation. He has insomnia, just fucking up every night for no reason. I don't know if you guys read, but if you haven't, it's a good manga. It's also an anime, too, if you guys want to watch that. But, yeah, it's fun. Sleep deprivation can take different forms. For some people, sleep deprivation happens because they stay awake instead of sleeping. For others, they're still sleeping, but they aren't getting quality sleep, so they wake up feeling tired. Okay, insomnia and sleep deprivation are closely related but aren't the same thing. Okay, let's skip that. Okay, here we go. How does it affect my body? Dude, can we just... Here. Okay, so sleep deprivation has negative effects in multiple ways throughout your body. Heart and circulatory systems. Long-term damaging effects on your heart and circulatory health. Chronic sleep deprivation are likely to develop high blood pressure. He got... medical people. Me. Hypertension, high cholesterol risk. Metabolic systems. People with chronic sleep deprivation have larger risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Immune system. Your body's natural defense. Okay, we talked about that. Nervous system. Brain. It's going to affect your brain. Mental health. It's going to affect your mental health. So more likely to harder for you to manage and process your emotions. This is why when attendings, you know, come to the hospital and they're cranky as shit, you probably know that they haven't really slept. The mental health is a lost cause. Yeah, bro, it really is. I talked previously about, you know, the different cultures, right? But yeah, it feels like a lost cause, bro. Oh my god, dude, that's funny as fuck. Oh, jeez. Okay. Anyways, let's get back to that article here. So, what are the symptoms? Daytime sleepiness, also narcolepsy. Fatigue, irritability, trouble thinking and remembering, slowed reaction times, and headaches. See, if you're playing fucking Battlefield 6 or Black Ops, or sorry, COD, up until like 1 in the morning, you're gonna have slow reaction times because you're not getting enough sleep. That's why when you wake up, you should always be grinding on the COD grind. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, guys? Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. Stages. That's what the Celsius is. Okay, buddy. Alright, man. I think when you force it, it gets even worse. I know there's like G Fuel. I have my own opinion on all these energy drink companies like G Fuel and then Gamer Subs. Personally, don't align with them personally. But yeah, that's just... I'll talk about that probably in a different stream or something. So, stage of sleep deprivation. You got stage 1. You go 24 hours without sleeping. The effects of sleep deprivation are similar to being under the influence of alcohol. No! Common symptoms intensify. They experience microsleeps. They start to show very severe symptoms like hallucinations. Yeah, you start going fucking insane. The symptoms are at their most extreme. The above symptoms worsen and hallucinations are common and you struggle to tell what's real and what isn't. Yeah, so with these hallucinations, you tend to get admitted to the psych unit for these. I've seen people in the psych unit where they just like can't sleep properly, and the practitioner, you know, just gives like an Ambien or a Valium or maybe like some antidepressants or something that promotes sleep, like what is it, trazodone and mirtazapine. Those are two. So yeah, those are some as well. What causes sleep deprivation? Yo, let's go. Shift work. Yeah, let's go. Night shift, guys. Hell yeah. Dude, I have my EM rotation soon, man. Oh my god, I'm gonna be up till like midnight at times, bro. Honestly, I might have to stream on just Saturdays on those days, because like I low-key might have some days where I have to go till midnight on Friday. And I just will not be able to stream those days. Maybe I'll just stream midweek instead, who knows? Because I don't have a test that time, so we'll see. Alcohol, stimulants, bad sleep-related habits like caffeine consumption. Let's go. Lack of quality sleep. Okay. Yeah, so that's all about sleep deprivation. Okay. Yeah, I think we covered a good amount of, you know, how sleep works. I guess, you know, oh, fucking turned off. Let me turn this back on. Yeah, but that was fun, right? I'm gonna turn the e-reader back on. I'm gonna fuck around with it a bit more, and then I might just call it for the night. Who knows? But yeah, guys, like that was honestly, I really enjoyed yapping about sleep for a long while. It was great. I'll probably, you know, cut these into shorts tomorrow. Get some little medical tidbits out there. Random, what is the thing you use to check if you're in a dream? I'm not sure. How to check if you're in a dream device. Let's see. How to tell? Is it like a lucid dreaming device? What is this? I'm not sure what you mean, Hika. I'm not gonna lie. Is it this? Hold on. I can't read small text in a dream. Oh, okay. Oh, like in general. I thought you meant like there's like some sort of device or something. Okay. I don't really check. Honestly, I just go with the flow. Like sometimes, most of my dreams are very bizarre. So it's like, you know, I can tell at some point when I'm in a dream and I'm not. I know lucid dreaming is like when you have a, you know, it feels real, but it's not. So that's one thing. I think people usually do lucid dreaming techniques because people say like, oh, it's better dreaming. I don't think so. Like dream however the fuck you want to dream, man. So yeah, I mean, if you're getting REM sleep, you're getting dreams. I get a dream often and it pisses me off. I don't know why I didn't show in the chat, but okay. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Okay. But yeah, so e-reader, let's see. Oh yeah, the front light power's on all the fucking time. I'm gonna set the preset to off here. Okay. There's also a browser as well. Like there's actually just like a stripped down version of Chrome in this thing. Yeah, if you ever do buy, if anyone here ever does buy an e-reader, let me know and I'll definitely be happy to help you set it up. Like for example, I got a fucking 1 terabyte micro SD in this thing because of the books has like an SD slot here where you can just insert one, so it's pretty nice. It's like one of the few devices with fucking expandable storage in 2025. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't think I really have too much to show. Oh, what the fuck? Well, I don't think I really have too much to show anymore. If you guys want to know more about something, just let me know. But anyways, I'm probably gonna call it for the night here. Oh damn. Wait, why is my chat not working right? Hold on, let me refresh the dock. I'm seeing it on the widget, but I'm not seeing it in my OBS, which is weird. Here we go, chat. Oh, okay, it changed your name. There we go, that's better. Okay, well, I think I'm probably gonna call it here. It's like 11:40 in the night, and I'm kind of tired. I don't think I'll be doing any Gorilla streams this week because I have a lot of stuff to do this week. Maybe next week, we'll see, based on what my next rotation has to give me. But yeah, again, if you do ever want to chat, voice, whatever, Discord, join that. Pretty chill place. Lots of vibes, lots of people who are like-minded in tech and who are like-minded in tech, who are also like-minded in healthcare, medicine, whatever. So if you guys want to talk about that, I post all my stream schedules there. I post stream announcements, events, whatever, all that stuff there. So yeah, and again, if you want to sub to my YouTube, I post everything in short form there, just stuff that was pretty fun from the stream. I do go into the editing minds like every week just to pump out some good content for you guys. So hopefully you guys do enjoy that. I appreciate all the support lately on all the stuff I've been doing. It's amazing, and I genuinely appreciate everything you guys have done. So yeah, let's find someone to raid. If I can. Rixie is playing game. Nep is playing. Good night. Yeah. Alright, don't go yet because I'm gonna raid someone, so let's see. Flea is streaming. Let me check the category here. I might just raid Rixie because I'm fucking lazy as shit. Let's see. Flea is pretty cool. She's doing software and game dev. What do you guys want to raid? Do you guys want to raid like a game stream? Or do you guys want to raid a software stream? I don't know. I'm kind of paralyzed that games. C++ game dev. I don't know. Alright, well, I'll find something. Trying to see if there's anything interesting here. There's a fucking stream that says femboys. The fuck? PAX. Don't care. Okay, it's basically just game dev. 1 month of... Okay, this is more... The funny part is that most of the software... Okay, I'm gonna raid Rixie. Most of the stuff is software and game dev, which is interesting. Considering most of the software and game dev stuff isn't actual software dev, it's just, you know, game dev, which is still software dev, of course, but it's kind of cool to see a lot of people on Twitch are into game development than anything. Alright, let's raid this dumbass and have her be happy for a bit. Anyways, guys, well, it was nice hanging with you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. I really enjoyed it. I'm happy to talk about MedEd again at any time. Feel free to share this around, Twitter, whatever. Yeah, of course. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Next Saturday, hopefully. Alright, peace out, guys. Bye!